I'm in GT, my brother is Broly. Chapter 76. Transmit super full power and arrive at the new Namek. Time flies, and a month or so has passed in the blink of an eye. Call out, call out. The universe spaceship moved rapidly in the universe, and soon followed it to a green planet. Inside the spaceship, the high-pitched battle sound came to an abrupt end. After a while, Bupa finished dressing and walked out of the room, looked at the planet outside the window, and the corner of his mouth raised. The new Namek, it's finally here. Namek Shenron, I hope you don't let me down. 99. Click. At this moment, a door not far away opened. Immediately afterwards, Broly, who was quite embarrassed, could be seen walking out of it. In just 1 month, Broly's anger has increased significantly at this moment. The whole body is surrounded by grass-green chi, and it is still in the super transmission mode. Even if it does not enter the super transmission 2 form, it is still in the state of transmission super full power. Thinking of this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, "System, check Broly information." 99. In the next second, Broly's message appeared in front of Bupa's eyes. Broly, race, Saiyan, bloodline, inferior super bloodline, combat strength, 800 million, transformation, anger state, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan mode, ability, Prince Tactics, Final Flash, Kaioken, 80 million combat power. It increased by nearly 700 million at once. It seems that this month or so of penance is still effective. After reading Broly's message, Bupa nodded in satisfaction. The increase of nearly 700 million combat power in 1 month should be the potential that Broly squeezed out after losing to Son Goku and others. And as Broly's combat power increased by about 700 million, it also brought him an increase of 7 billion combat power. Thinking of this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose slightly, and he became stronger again. Subconsciously, Bupa said, "System, check my own information." In the next second, Bupa's own personal information emerges. Bupa, race, Saiyan, bloodline, second class super bloodline, combat strength, 30 billion, transformation, Super Saiyan, ability, Kaioken, Prince Tactics, Final Flash, 30 billion basic combat power. Very good, very invincible. After seeing his own situation, Bupa was extremely satisfied at the moment. With a basic combat power of 30 billion, once Super Saiyan is transformed, it can reach 1.5 trillion combat power. Not to mention that there are 10 times as much Kaioken. 15 trillion combat power is definitely enough for him to hang all the bosses in the previous stage. Of course, he also understands that this power cannot help Vegeta. In the original work, Vegeta has 720 billion combat power in normal state, 36 trillion in Super 1 form, 360 trillion in Super 2 form, and the Super 3 form is not displayed. A long way to go. Set a small goal first to surpass Super 2 Vegeta. Inwardly, Bupa's eyes were full of anticipation. Broly's strength won't improve too much in a short period of time, but on the 21st, Lazuli and his brother still have great potential for improvement. As long as they complete the evolution, they must at least increase their combat power by 100 billion under 10 times the return. Big brother. At this time, Broly stepped forward, looking a little excited. I broke through. I completed the transformation of Super Saiyan 2, and also reached full power. In addition, my Quinkao mode has also reached full power, and I feel that it won't take long to complete the transformation of Quinkao 2. Having said that, Broly's eyes were full of desire, and he looked at Bupa with war intent. His Quinkao 2 transformation required fighting and pressure, and only Bupa could give him all that. Therefore, as long as Bupa fights with him, it will definitely allow him to complete the transformation form of Quinkao 2. Well done. Reaching out and patted Broly's shoulder, Bupa couldn't see what he was thinking, and said immediately, "After solving the problem of Namek, I will fight with you to help you complete the transformation of Quinkao 2. Thank you, bro." Hearing this, Broly was overjoyed. He can't wait to complete the transformation of Quinkao 2, and at that time, his power will definitely surpass everyone else. Get ready, we are about to descend on the new Namek. 55. With a wave of his hand, Bupa said indifferently, "You're going to control the spaceship to fall, and I'll call Buma." "Yes." With a promise, Broly didn't hesitate, turned around and walked towards the control room. He can't wait to complete his own evolution, and naturally he doesn't want to waste time in space. And after Broly left, Bupa turned around and went back to the room, looking at Buma who had barely got up. The corners of his mouth raised. "Now that you've recovered, put on your clothes and follow me." "But your strength is too bad. If you don't even have any strength, you can only wait for death." Saying that, Bupa took out a high-level spiritual fruit and threw it on the bed as soon as he thought about it, and said, "Eat it. You are not my opponent without combat power." After saying that, Bupa turned around and left the room and walked towards the control room. Arsehole. Seeing this situation, Bulma gritted her teeth and looked at the messy room. The madness of this month appeared in her mind, and subconsciously tightened the sheets and said, "I'm sorry Trunks. Although Mom loves you, I can't leave him anymore." 35. Saying that, Bulma stretched out his hand to pick up the spiritual fruit and ate it. After a while, Buma's whole body chi surged, directly reaching 500,000. At the same time, her whole person also recovered as before, swept away the fatigue and weakness before, and her whole person became full of energy. It feels good. Is this power? Clenching her fists tightly, Bupa looked at the obviously more Lihao and arrogant figure, and the corners of her mouth raised. You bastard Bupa, you wait for me next time and you will definitely admit defeat. Saying that, Buma picked up the clothes on the side and finished dressing, and then walked out of the room. Rumbling, the roar resounded, and the universe spacecraft entered the new Namek range. The intruder is coming. 99. The intruder is here. For a time, the Namek people within Namek panicked completely. Seeing the universe spaceship falling from the sky, countless Namek people gathered in a huge building, a posture of life and death. In addition, there are also some fighting-type Namek people galloping out at this moment, aiming directly at the universe spaceship, intending to fight to the death. Apparently, they used Bupa's universe ship as the invader Super Namek Slug and his subordinates. Chapter 77 Elder Namek, Bupa's recruitment. Soon, the universe spaceship fell to the ground. Click. As the hatch opened, the three figures of Bupa, Broly and Buma walked out of it. Kill. 35. Kill the intruder. 66.39. For a time, many low-pitched roars came. Looking at the prestige, hundreds of Namek warriors can be seen hurriedly approaching, aiming directly at where the three Bupa are. Caught death. Seeing this situation, Broly's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he was about to take a step forward. Bupa, don't hurt them. Seeing this, Buma became anxious, and hurriedly stepped forward and grabbed Bupa's arm to plead. She understands that her words have no effect on Broly, and only Bupa can stop Broly. The main thing is that Buma felt that something was wrong. The Namek people advocate peace, and it is logically impossible to do it right away. Broly, stop. Seeing this, Bupa also frowned and waved Broly to stop. Immediately after, Bupa stepped out and released the pressure of his own breath. Thump. 053 thump dash. For a time, the Namek warriors who attacked all around fell to the ground. Even if Bupa didn't take action, the oppression of the 30 billion combat power was not something that the mere Namek people could bear. After all this was done, Bupa walked with Broly and Buma to a Namek warrior, and said condescendingly, "Why attack us, intruder? Damn it, you want to destroy the Namek lineage, and we swear to death." Hearing this, the Namek warrior glared at Bupa with gritted teeth, without any fear other than unwillingness and anger. Not only him, but also the surrounding Namek warriors. No one has any fear, and some are just brave and not afraid of death. I see. Seeing this, Bupa understood that these guys should be the ones who thought of themselves as slugs. That being said, the slug has not yet arrived here. With that in mind, Bupa turned his head to look at Buma and said, "Go ahead and talk. If you're not sensible, don't blame my subordinates for being ruthless. It is good." Hearing this, Buma also understood that he and others were misunderstood, and quickly stepped forward and said, "Don't be afraid, we are not bad people, and we are not here to invade Namek. Do you remember me? My name is Buma, and I went to your Namek back then." As soon as these words came out, the Namek warriors in the field were all stunned. Subconsciously looking at each other, some of the Namek people's eyes are looking at where Buma is. It's her. 35. The girl who was with Mr. Son Goku back then. She seems to be called Bulma. She is not a bad person. For a time, many Namek people recognized Buma. At this point, the hostility of those Namek people gradually dissipated, and at the same time they were all embarrassed. Unexpectedly, he and the others actually made a huge oolong. Seeing this, Bupa also restrained his chi. Glancing at the Namek warriors present, Bupa said, "Take us to your Grand Elder. We can help you solve the slug invasion crisis." It is good. Hearing this, one of the leading Namek people nodded. After recognizing Buma, he also did not think Bupa and others would be enemies. Immediately afterwards, a group of people rushed towards the residence of the Great Elder with the three of Bupa. Soon, the three Bupa arrived at the gathering place of the Namek people. After a brief explanation, the nervous Namek people in the arena breathed a sigh of relief. Many people even cheered. The savior, Ka, has come. Here comes Saiyan, who I look for every day. Great, Saiyan is here, then we don't need to be afraid of Slug. Hearing this, Bupa frowned, asked for help every day to find Saiyan, but they were not brought in by asking for help. The only possibility was to go to the earth every day. If so, I'm afraid not only Slug will come soon, but even Son Goku and others will come to the new Namek. Interesting. I don't know how much improvement Son Goku and others can make this time. Muttering inwardly, Bupa quietly entered the residence of the Great Elder. It can be seen that this Great Elder is not the one in the original book. The old Great Elder has long since died, and the Great Elder in front of him seems to be in his prime and healthy. Friends from the earth, you are welcome. 35. At this time, the First Elder stood up and bowed slightly to the three of Bupa. I am the new First Elder. This time the Namek crisis is coming. Please forgive me for my troubles. It doesn't have to be. With a wave of his hand, Bupa glanced at the Elder, and then said, "Introduce myself. My name is Bupa, the new king of Saiyan. We didn't come from Earth, but from the new star Vegeta. This king is aware of the crisis here, but it is not impossible for this king to help you. The Namek people must submit to me from now on. 35. As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. The Namek elder and the Namek warriors on the side were dumbfounded. Unexpectedly, the person in front of him was not recruited from the earth every day, and the other party seemed to want to rule the Namek people, which caught them off guard and even a little bit overwhelmed. That, subconsciously, the great elder smiled awkwardly. Lord Bupa, what do you mean by surrender allegiance to me? 35. Without selling anything, Bupa glanced at the elder and said, I am the new king of Saiyan, and soon I will build the Justice League based on Saiyan to protect the peace of universe. 5. However, the current Justice League is only a prototype, or even an idea, so this king needs the assistance of the Namek people. You Namek warriors all have good potential, as long as you develop them well to reach around 1 million combat power, it's not a problem. And Namek's heart is for justice, which is one of the reasons why this king came to invite you. In addition, the Dragon Ball of the Namek people is also one of the goals of this king. With the Dragon Ball, this king can form the Justice League faster. Hiss. After listening to Bupa's story, the Great Elder and the Namek warriors beside him were dumbfounded. I thought Bupa was just going to rule them, but now it seems that the latter's appetite is far more than that. He is going to rule the entire universe. Chapter 78 Subduing the Great Elder. Slug attacks. You actually want to rule the universe? Subconsciously, a Namek warrior spoke up. We Namek will not give in to you. 35. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the arena was instantly dead. You wanna die? Taking a step forward, Broly's eyes shot with murderous intent. For those who dare to help his elder brother, he will never allow him to exist. In an instant, surging killing intent poured out from Broly's body, and he stepped forward to shoot at that person. Wait a moment. Seeing this situation, the Great Elder panicked. He could clearly feel Broly's killing intent, and even more clearly feel the power and terror of the latter. In such a situation, if it is not stopped, there may be no need to wait for the arrival of Slug, and the entire Namek race will be destroyed. Thinking of this, the First Elder didn't care about anything else, and quickly said, we can surrender. We can choose to join your Justice League, but we need to know what your purpose is. To keep the universe at peace, or to rule the universe in another way? If it is to maintain peace, then I, the Namek clan, have an obligation, but if we want to use our power to unify universe, then he will never agree. As soon as these words came out, the Namek people behind him also nodded, including the person who refused before is no exception. For nothing else, he also felt the terrifying killing intent on Broly. If he dared to speak nonsense at this time, then he would definitely be killed. This is definitely something he is unwilling to accept and see, so it is time to shut up or shut up. They didn't even think about joining Bupa, but after seeing that the latter was really going to kill, they all compromised in their hearts. Cut. Seeing this, Broly pouted, and a trace of disdain flashed in his eyes. If my eldest brother wants to rule universe, do I still need you? 5. With my eldest brother's #1 combat power in the universe, who can stop him from ruling the entire universe? However, my eldest brother is not an evil person. His goal is to build the Justice League, so that the entire universe is not evil, and this gives you a chance. Otherwise, just by what you just said, I can kill you all. Apostrophe. Gudettilda. Hearing this, the Great Elder and other Namek people swallowed their saliva. They didn't think Broly was alarmist. This also means that everything the latter says is true. It is because of this that their hearts are becoming more and more entangled at this moment. Under such circumstances, do you and others surrender or disobey? If disobedient, the entire Namek race will surely die, but if surrendered, then, Great Elder. 99. At this time, Bupa glanced at the Elder, and said slowly, I believe you can already see how the situation is. If that's the case, then I won't cheat with you. 35. The Namek people join me, and I will lead you to settle in the new star Vegeta. 55. At that time, the entire Namek race will be under my protection, and my subordinates will also train your Namek warriors. With the establishment of the Justice League, you Namek people will also become a member of the Justice League, and it will also be an example to the many races of the universe. If you promise to surrender, then you don't have to be afraid in the future, and even the Namek lineage will return to its former glory. But if you refuse, then this king doesn't mind changing to another race to become this grab-eater. As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. The elders and others were also silent. They are not stupid. How can they not understand what Bupa's words mean? Either surrender or die. Just so domineering. Just so unreasonable. But they have nothing to do with it, and there is no possibility of refuting it. We are willing to surrender. Taking a deep breath, the Great Elder raised his head to look at Bupa, knelt down on one knee and said, I, the Great Elder Neku of the Namek people, offer our loyalty to King Bupa on behalf of the entire Namek people. As soon as these words came out, the Namek people in the surrounding area also knelt down on one knee and shouted, See King Bupa. I swear my allegiance to Lord Bupa to the death. 35. I swear my allegiance to Lord Bupa to the death. 35. Done. 0 flowers 0. Seeing this, a smile appeared on Bupa's face. The Namek people were successfully subdued by him, and under such circumstances, his plan could be accelerated. Moreover, the potential of the entire Namek lineage is not weak. As long as they are all subordinates and transformed into beings who are loyal to themselves, then the future will definitely provide him with a continuous increase in combat power. Ding. The loyalty of the internal library reaches 85, whether the host is bind. Without hesitation, Bupa agreed without hesitation. 85's loyalty, although it has not yet reached the level of die-hard loyalty, it is already extremely high. After all, when Lazuli and others surrendered, their loyalty was only over 70. And he also understands what the Elder's last hesitation is. As long as his Justice League is completed later, the latter must be loyal to himself. 0. Once Neku, the Great Elder, is loyal to himself, the entire Namek family will also be completely subordinated to him. Thinking of this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, "Get up. This king accepts your allegiance." Welcome to the Justice League. 35. After that, Bupa checked the information of Namek. The next second, the information about the internal library appeared in front of Bupa's eyes. Internal library. Race, Namek people. Bloodline, royal family. Combat strength, 5000. Ability, potential development, idea communication. Loyalty, 85. DA. At this moment, a burst of rapid footsteps came. Looking around, I could see a Namek hurried in. After arriving in the area of the field, the Namek warrior quickly said, "The Elder is not good. That Slug is here. He led a large army to invade our planet, and is now heading towards our place at a rapid pace." 99. What? Here comes Slug. Hearing this, Neku and other Namek people changed their faces. They are extremely afraid of this evil Super Namek. Subconsciously, Neku looked at Bupa and said, "Lord Bupa, look." 7. Chapter 79. The Namek family surrendered, and Buma returned to his heart. Broly. Before Neku finished speaking, Bupa was the first to speak. "Go and get rid of those guys under Slug's command. Also, bring me Slug." 55. I'm a member of the Justice League who can invade casually. "Yes, sir." Hearing this, Broly nodded immediately. Immediately afterwards, Broly no longer hesitated, turned around and walked towards the outside of the house. Woo. Seeing this situation, Neku and other Namek people were relieved. They had already felt Broly's power and terror just now. Now that Broly goes out, he will definitely be able to get rid of Slug and the invaders he brought. In this way, the crisis they are about to face can be regarded as being saved. Thinking of this, Neku subconsciously said, "Master Bupa, can Mr. Broly be able to be alone?" Enough. Glancing at Neku, Bupa said silently, "There are very few people in the universe who can stop my brother. Slug doesn't deserve to be Broly's opponent. But since you're worried, go out with me and see." 35. After saying that, Bupa stopped staying there, and walked towards the area outside the house. Follow up. Go together. Seeing this, Neku was so excited, he shouted and followed those Namek people. Soon, Bupa, Neku and others came outside the house. Big Elder. 6699. For a time, the Namek people surrounding this area all bowed and saluted. "Get up, my children." Seeing this situation, Neku hurriedly opened his mouth to stop everyone's gift. Immediately afterwards, he looked at Broly, who had begun to use countless Kaigon bombs to kill the invaders in the distance, with a hint of horror in his eyes. Not only him, but also the Namek warriors who came out behind him. Looking at the back of Broly's massacre, he subconsciously exclaimed, "It's so strong." What a great Broly! Those invaders were not his enemies at all. 6699. Hearing this, Neku woke up like a dream. Immediately afterwards, he seemed to have thought of something, and hurriedly said, "My children are all silent." 35. Hearing this, everyone in Namek in the venue quieted down and looked at Neku's location. The latter is the Great Elder, and it can be said that he is the king of the Namek people, and no one dares to disobey his words. Seeing this, Neku made up his mind and pointed to Bupa without the slightest hesitation. "My child, this is Lord Bupa, the new King Saiyan, and the leader of the Justice League. From now on, we Namek people will join the command of Lord Bupa, get the protection of the Justice League, and no longer need to worry about foreign enemies coming to invade." At the same time, the Justice League created by Lord Bupa is an existence dedicated to maintaining the peace of the universe. In the future, all the soldiers of the Namek people can be taught by Lord Bupa to become the soldiers of the Justice League and maintain the peace of the entire universe. As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. All the Namek people looked at Neku in astonishment, completely unexpected that he would surrender to Bupa. But soon, a group of Namek people started talking. "Justice League, keeping universe peace and justice? If it is really such an organization, doesn't it mean that we will also be able to start practicing? Great, with Lord Bupa's shelter, we don't have to worry anymore." I agree with the decision of the elders. Only Lord Bupa and the Justice League are the way out for us Namek people. 66.99. For a time, countless Namek people's eyes were full of excitement. Namek warriors are eager to get stronger. After all, they have experienced 2 invasions by foreign enemies, and they may even exterminate their clan. They all understand that strength is the most important thing. And those ordinary Namek people are even more at ease. After all, with Bupa's shelter, their future safety will not have any problems. In addition, the idea of the Justice League is to maintain peace and justice in the universe, which is also extremely easy for them to accept. Thinking of this, countless Namek people knelt down on one knee and shouted, "Meet Master Bupa. Meet Bupa-sama. I will swear my allegiance to Lord Bupa to the death. I am willing to fight for the peace of universe for the rest of my life." 066.99 At this moment, Bupa became the uncrowned king. With the surrender of the Namek people as a whole, Bupa did not hesitate to bind them all to himself. After all this was done, Bupa waved his hand. "Get up, everyone. Since all of you are willing to trust me, then I, Bupa, as the new King Saiyan, promise you that as long as I survive, I will protect the Namek people from being threatened and destroyed. As long as I, Bupa, live, the Justice League will fight to keep the peace and justice of the universe and wipe out all evil." 99. As soon as these words came out, the Namek people present boiled again. All of them looked at Bupa as if they were looking at the savior, and shouted, "Long live Lord Bupa! Long live Mr. Bupa!" 66.99 Seeing this scene, Buma was a little obsessed. Although he was robbed. Although he was coerced at first, even coerced and lured. But at this moment, Buma couldn't help but feel a little pride in his heart. Looking at Bupa, who was domineering and kingly, the last trace of Vegeta in her mind disappeared. Immediately afterwards, Buma stepped forward to stop Bupa's arm and said, "Bupa, I believe you will succeed. I will also definitely help you complete the construction of the Justice League." 0.7 Ding. Check if Buma's loyalty to the host reaches 98, whether the host is bound. Loyalty 98. Raising his brows, Bupa glanced at Buma beside him in surprise, full of surprise. You know, loyalty 98 is not something that can be achieved casually. Apart from Broly, no one under his command has ever been so loyal. Now Buma's loyalty to herself has reached 98, which means that she can even be enemies with Son Goku and others for herself, or even tear her face. Bind. After being slightly surprised, Bupa spoke without hesitation. Ding. The binding is successful, the loyalty of the detected character reaches more than 90, and the tenfold return ability is activated. Chapter 80 Blood Purification Pill. Destroy the Slug Legion. Blood Purification Pill. Raising his brows, Bupa's eyes showed a hint of astonishment. Unexpectedly, this time Buma will refresh such a reward. At the same time, Bupa was also quite excited. Buma is a member of the protagonist's team, and rewards can be refreshed when her loyalty reaches a certain level. This time, after obtaining the Bloodline Purification Pill, what will happen when Buma's loyalty reaches 100%? Thinking of this, Bupa immediately began to check the Blood Purification Pill. Blood Purification Pill. It can improve the strength of human blood. Good. Eat it and I will be able to evolve into a super bloodline. 55. You can even take this opportunity to master the rage state and the super transfer mode. At this moment, Bupa's breathing was short, and he could not wait to eat this blood purification pill immediately. Wait. 99. Suddenly, Bupa's expression changed slightly. Bloodline purification pill can improve bloodline. It is effective for you, so is it also effective for Broly? If Broly's bloodline increases, can he also get 10 times the reward? 10 times the return. That's 10 times as much. As long as you can really do 20 to this step, then giving this bloodline purification pill to Broly will definitely bring the value to the extreme. Try anyway. Even if it fails, it's not impossible to get this bloodline purification pill in the future. In an instant, Bupa made up his mind. Compared to eating the bloodline purification pill by himself, it may evolve into a lower level super bloodline. If Broly eats it, then his bloodline will reach the level of medium transmission. You know, according to the settings in the original work, GT Broly is a low-level super bloodline, Dragon Ball Super 6th Universe's Kaior is a medium super bloodline, and Dragon Ball Super Broly is a high-level super bloodline. Although all three are supernatural, but in reality there is a huge gap. For example, the 6th Universe Kaior, after transforming into Quan Jiao, the combat power is comparable to Jiao Blue. And the 7th Universe Broly is even more outrageous, playing Super Saiyan God in a state of anger, Super Saiyan playing Super Blue, Quan Jiao can even match Super Blue Vegeta. That is to say, the improvement of bloodline is not only to increase a person's potential and upper limit, but also to accelerate and make it stronger. And in the original book, Broly is about 40 years old, but he has never practiced much. But even so, in just 1 hour of battle, he reached an existence comparable to that of Super Blue Vegeta. This also represents the horror of the superior super bloodline, even the medium super bloodline. The potential is extremely terrifying. Thinking of this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and he turned to look at Buma beside him and took him into his arms. Bulma, you are really my lucky star. What? Hearing this, Buma looked at Bupa with a puzzled look, his eyes full of doubts and incomprehension. Lucky star? What's this all about? But looking at Bupa's smiling face, Buma also understood that the latter was not lying. For a while, a smile appeared on Bupa's face. Although she didn't know why Bupa was happy, it seemed to be because of herself. which made her feel happy. What? At the same time, a steady stream of screams resounded in the distant area. It can be seen that under the attack of Broly's Kaigong bomb, the aliens who followed Slug to the new Namek were almost wiped out. The remaining aliens suffered a direct mental breakdown. Escape. It was terrifying. The man was terrifying. Escape. You must escape from here as soon as possible. With the constant shouting in the mouth, one after another figure quickly flew towards the universe spaceship, trying to escape the new Namek range. Escape. 33. Who allowed you to leave? Seeing this, Broly smiled coldly, his eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he raised his hand and shot out more Kaigong bullets. Rumble one. Rumbling. The deafening roar resounded, and countless universe spaceships exploded before they even took off. The aliens in it have no resistance, and they all died under Broly's attack. Damn bastard, who the hell are you? At this moment, an angry roar came. Looking at the reputation, Slug's figure can be seen hurriedly coming. It's just that he looked extremely embarrassed at the moment, and there were scars all over his body. Obviously, when the universe spacecraft exploded, Slug was also affected. Soon, Slug's figure arrived at Broly's place and asked angrily, Saiyan, why are you attacking my legion? If you're doing it for the Namek Dragon Ball, then how about I give it to you? At this moment, Slug was angry in his heart, but the reality made him have to admit to it. He wasn't an idiot either. He knew the horror of Broly in front of him. If it wasn't for the destruction of his own universe spaceship, he would even want to escape immediately. Too difficult. After all, he is a Super Namek person, not even inferior to Super Saiyan. But what about now? To meet such a perverted Saiyan, even his terrifying power cannot match him with all his strength. Are you Slug? Looking at Slug up and down, Broly said quietly, you dare to come and invade Namek at this point? Who gave you the courage? To be honest, Broly was quite disappointed at the moment. I thought this Slug would be quite powerful, maybe even a good opponent. After all, taking a Namek is called a Super Namek. But Broly never imagined that the latter would be so weak, with a combat power of more than 100 million to less than 200 million. Not to mention transformation. Even if he is normal, he can hang it up and beat it, which makes him look forward to it in vain. You're standing up for the Namek people. Hearing this, Slug's face changed greatly. I thought that the other party came for Dragon Ball just like me, but it was not difficult to see from Broly's words that the latter seemed to be protecting the Namek people. For a time, Slug felt more regretful in his heart. If he had known that the Namek people had such a backing, he would have gone crazy across the universe to die. You know it too late. With a cold snort, Broly can be sure that the guy in front of him is the so-called Slug. For a while, Broly didn't want to waste any more time, and appeared in the area next to Slug in a flash. The next second, Broly swung out a hand knife and attacked him on the neck. With a bang, Slug was knocked unconscious by Broly before he could even react. After doing all this, Broly directly mentioned Slug, turned around and galloped towards the area where Bupa and the others were. Chapter 81 Give blood purification pills to deal with Slug. Ended. Seeing this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and he turned to look at Neku. Slug has been captured by Broly. The aliens he brought with him have also been wiped out, and Namek's crisis has been lifted. As soon as these words came out, Neku and other Namek people were shocked. They also all saw the battle in the distance, but most ordinary Namek people couldn't see what was going on. But as Bupa's words came out, they had already fully understood at this moment that the crisis that had made them ready to fight to the death was lifted. For a time, the Namek people in the venue looked at Bupa with even more adoring and hot eyes, and subconsciously cheered, "Long live Mr. Bupa. Lord Broly is mighty. Master Bupa is mighty." 6699. The crisis has been completely lifted, which is the best news for 99% of the Namek people present. Even a lot of children ran in the field to vent their inner joy, and the innocent laughter swept away the last trace of the haze in Namek. Xiuichi, call out. The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and Broly carried Slug back to the area on the top of the mountain. When he reached the area where Bupa was, Broly threw the Slug on the ground and said, "Big brother, fortunately, I have captured the Slug, and the rest of the intruders have been wiped out." "Nice job." Nodding with satisfaction, Bupa reached out and patted Broly's shoulder, and then said, "Broly, this reward is for you." With that said, Bupa took out the blood purification pill and handed it to Broly as soon as he thought about it, and said with anticipation, "This is a medicinal pill that can purify blood. You refine it, you should be able to improve your own super bloodline. Don't let me down." Raise blood vessels. How miraculous. His pupils shrank, and Broly looked at the little finger-sized medicinal pill in disbelief, his heart full of shock and excitement. He did not doubt Bupa's words. Since the latter says so, it represents the preciousness and value of this thing. The main thing is that this thing is so precious there may be no other, and now that Bupa gave it to him, it's just big brother apostrophe. Subconsciously, Broly then said, "You also have a super bloodline, or you should eat with you." Although the blood purification dan is tempting, but Broly still held back, more because he wanted to let Bupa eat to improve his own strength. "It doesn't have to be." In response, Bupa waved his hand and said indifferently, I have other options. And with my current strength, no one can be my opponent. 39. But you are different. Your previous practice has already squeezed too much potential, and there is almost no possibility of a significant improvement in a short period of time. But if refining it improves your bloodline, then your potential will increase dramatically, and your combat power will also increase greatly. 35. If nothing else, Son Goku and the others will come here soon. Do you want to lose to them? What? Kakarot and others will also come here. Hearing this, Broly's pupils shrank, his eyes glistened with fighting intent, but he couldn't help but feel nervous. Although the strength has improved a bit, Broly does not think that Son Goku and others have not made a breakthrough. Therefore, he must eat this bloodline purification pill, and he must improve his combat power as soon as possible. I see, big brother. 99. Taking a deep breath, Broly immediately said, I will not disappoint big brother. Kakarot and others will never defeat me, and I will not allow anyone to provoke your majesty, eldest brother. 5. After finishing speaking, Broly no longer hesitated, took the bloodline purification pill, turned around and walked towards the room not far away. In a library. 35. Seeing this, Buppa nodded with satisfaction, and then said, let someone guard me, and don't allow anyone to disturb my brother's breakthrough. Yes, Lord Buppa. Bowing and saluting, Neku did not dare to neglect, and quickly turned around and instructed the Namek warriors beside him to protect the Dharma for Brashasa. Moments later, 4 Namek warriors hurried into Broly's room, preventing anyone from approaching and disturbing them. Master Buppa. After the explanation, Neku turned his head to look at Buppa and asked cautiously, dare to ask your lord, do we Namek people want to move to the new Vegeta star? Good. Nodding his head, Buppa didn't give a shit and said directly, the coordinates of your planet have been exposed. Once this news gets out, there will be more in the universe coming here to trouble you. After all, the Dragon Ball in your hands is indeed tempting. So, for your safety, the only way is to move into the new Vegeta, and then I will protect your safety. Yes. Hearing this, Neku breathed a sigh of relief. Having made up his mind to surrender, Neku also understands that it is dangerous to stay here. Now that Buppa has promised to let them move to the new Vegeta star, that's the best option. Thinking of this, Neku immediately said, Master Buppa, do you need to use the Dragon Ball to transfer the clan? The number of Namek people is quite large, about 10,000. With such a large number of Namek people, Buppa's universe ship was clearly not enough to transfer. As for the universe ships that Slug brought, they were almost destroyed, and it was impossible to help them. So, the only way is to use Dragon Ball to help the Namek people transfer. Nodding, Buppa raised the corner of his mouth and said, it just so happens that I also want to see the Dragon Ball of your Namek. Neku, let someone bring the Namek Dragon Ball. 35. But before that, I want to ask you what you want to do with the guy, Lizao, in front of you. Saying that, Buppa pointed to Slug on the ground, his eyes full of playful meaning. Slug, this plot version of the boss, Super Namek, who might be okay in the Freezer stage, but is too weak in the current stage. But Buppa didn't let Broly kill him, and most of all, he knew about one of the Namek's special abilities, fusion. Unlike the fusion of dance steps and battery earrings, which are limited, the fusion of Namek people can be permanent. That is to say, as long as the competition selects a Namek warrior to fuse it, then Slug's combat power can be completely obtained without any side effects. Leave it to me, Lord Buppa. Nodding, Neku now understood what Buppa was referring to. After a little pondering, Neku turned his head to look at a warrior in the crowd and said, Luke, you come forward and fuse Slug. 35. Chapter 82 Coming of Warrior Z, Wrath of Vegeta. Yes. Hearing this, Luke stepped forward immediately. After bowing to Neku and Buppa, Luke walked over to Slug and reached out to fusion. Death to me. At this moment, Slug suddenly burst out. It can be seen that his closed eyes suddenly opened, and his right hand sticks out to attack Luke and is about to kill him. Humphrey, in front of me, you think you have the ability to commit murder? Seeing this situation, Buppa snorted coldly, his eyes flashed with disdain, and his whole body appeared in the area in front of Slug in a flash. Immediately afterwards, Buppa pierced Slug's heart, completely abolishing his resistance, and said condescendingly, your value is to become a nutrient, and you should feel honored for your value. Luke, act. Yes, Lord Buppa. Hearing this, Luke woke up like a dream, glanced at Buppa gratefully, and then without hesitation stretched out his hand to grab the dying Slug, and drank in his mouth. In the next second, a special force emerged, and it could be clearly seen that Slug's body was shining brightly, and it turned into a mass of air and penetrated into Luke's body at a speed visible to the naked eye. 057. Immediately afterwards, the chi in Luke's body was violent, and the rapid growth reached about 180 million in a short period of time. Rumbling. Almost instantly, a deafening roar resounded quietly. Looking at the sound, you can see that the fire is bright on the sky, and you can see that 3 aircraft are flying fast, aiming directly at the area where Buppa and others are located. Are you coming? 35. Seeing this, Buppa's eyes flashed, and the corners of his mouth raised. It's really fast. However, Son Goku and others have already covered up their chi, and they don't know how much they have improved during this time. What is that? Are there any intruders? On the contrary, the Namek people in the arena were a little flustered at this moment. Slug's crisis has just been lifted. Is there another intruder coming now? In this case, time flies by quickly. The 3 aircraft came directly to this area. Rumbling, the roar resounded, and the 3 aircraft landed. The endless dust rises, and the figures of Son Goku, Vegeta, Son Gohan and Tantan can be seen flying out of it. It's every day. It is the breath of the sky. Apostrophe. For a time, the Namek people in the venue were all relieved. Many of them no longer know Son Goku and others, but they are also extremely familiar with the breath of the tribe's Tanshin. Call out! Call out! The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and the 4 of Son Goku quickly arrived at the arena area. After he floated to the ground, Tanshin immediately ran up and shouted, "Great Elder! Elder, I brought Goku and them. Elder, the crisis in our Namek can be resolved." Looking at Tantan, who was excited, the surrounding Namek people looked a little weird. They know about going to Earth every day to ask for help. If Bupa and others didn't show up, the Namek people would naturally be extremely welcome. But in the current situation, Slug has been solved, and it is a bit embarrassing to bring Son Goku and others every day. Bupa, Bulma. At this time, Son Goku, Vegeta and Son Gohan noticed Bupa and Bulma in the crowd. For a time, the expressions of the 3 of them were a little excited. Especially Vegeta was even more excited at the moment. For nothing else, because he saw that Bupa was blocking Buma at the moment, and that look of affection made Vegeta's whole person unwell. That is her own wife. How could she be so docile in Bupa's arms? Could it be? Thinking of a possibility, Vegeta instantly burst into anger, glaring at Bupa and roaring, "Bupa!" In the next second, Vegeta rushed out and attacked Bupa with extreme speed. Vegeta, Uncle Vegeta. 99. Seeing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan exclaimed subconsciously. Unexpectedly, Vegeta was so reckless that he dared to attack Bupa alone, which is definitely not good news. Vegeta. 99. Seeing this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose slightly, not caring about Vegeta who was attacking, but turned to look at Buma in his arms. Unexpectedly, Buma just glanced at Vegeta indifferently at the moment, without any other emotions and fluctuations. Obviously, Buma has no feelings for Vegeta, and even she doesn't care about Vegeta's existence. So the last 2% of Buma's loyalty is not with Vegeta. Underestimating a sentence in his heart, Bupa raised his hand and grabbed the fist that Vegeta attacked. Immediately afterwards, Bupa threw Vegeta with a violent force. With a loud bang, Vegeta slammed onto a hill. The hill burst, dust rose, and the gravel immediately covered his body. Vegeta, Uncle Vegeta. Seeing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan hurriedly flew towards the ruins. Although they knew that Bupa's attack was not fatal, they were still quite worried about Vegeta's safety. After all, Bupa's basic combat power has reached 30 billion, which is definitely not comparable to ordinary people. On the other hand, the Namek people in the arena are now looking awkward. Son Goku and others are helpers that are recruited every day. Even if Slug has been eliminated, they are quite fond of Son Goku and others. But what about now? Vegeta dared to attack Bupa, which caused the Namek people's goodwill towards them to drop significantly. Especially some of the older Namek people recognized Vegeta for the first time at this moment. He is the Saiyan who killed the tribe. Apostrophe. I remember that he was the Saiyan who invaded the Namek people back then. 6695. As soon as these words came out, the faces of the Namek people, who were a little unhappy at first, turned dark. Although he didn't continue to say anything, his unwelcome attitude was self-evident. Elder, this. Seeing this situation, Tantan looked at Neku in amazement. After all, Vegeta was the rescuer he brought, and now he was beaten. This. Tanshin, remember that Saiyan is not our friend. Seeing this, Neku stretched out his hand and rubbed Tanshin's head, and then said, Master Bupa is the savior of our Namek people, and he actually dares to do something to him. That's my Namek's enemy. This. Hearing this, Tantan was dumbfounded. The elder's words made him not know what to say for a while. One side is the rescuer he brought, and the other side is the benefactor who has saved the Namek people. How do you choose? Chapter 83. The end of Vegeta, Buma's true feelings revealed. Bupa. At this moment, Vegeta's angry roar resounded again. It can be seen that a golden gas burst, and the piled up rocks burst. Immediately afterwards, the figure of Vegeta can be seen walking out of it, surrounded by lightning, and immediately activates the Super Saiyan 2 transformation form. For a time, the terrifying air raged in the world. Vegeta's eyes were red at the moment, and the whole person was like a devil's face. His own woman was taken away. And it's still a look of you and me. Fools know what's going on. How can Vegeta accept it? Barking the weak. In response, Bupa pouted in disdain. After looking at Vegeta, he secretly said, System, check the information of Son Goku, Vegeta and Son Wufan. 35. In the next second, the information of the 3 people appeared in the area in front of Bupa's eyes. Son Goku, race, Saiyan, bloodline, inferior bloodline, combat strength, 4 billion, transformation, Super Saiyan 2, abilities, Kaioken, instant transmission, Kamemiya wave, Spirit Bomb. Vegeta. Race, Saiyan. Bloodline, Royal Bloodline. Combat Power, 4.5 billion. Transformation, Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2. Ability, Prince Warfare, Artificial Moon, Final Flash. Son Goku. Race, Hybrid Saiyan. Combat Power, 5.8 billion. Transformation, Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2. Ability, Magic Flash, Kamehameha Wave, Magic Light Cannon. 401Z. 4.5 billion. 581Z. These three guys are on the hook. How can they improve so fast? After reading the information of the three Son Goku, Bupa was stunned and his eyes were full of incredible colors. It's only been less than 3 months since he left the Earth, but the three of Son Goku have actually increased their combat power from only about 500 million to such a point in less than 3 months. This is simply incredible, even appalling. Not right. There's definitely something wrong with their power boost. For a time, Bupa's inner emotions were a little shaken, and it was unbelievable for the three people's completely wrong promotion. Although the transformation has not improved much, the basic combat power has been significantly improved by more than 1 grade. Even their current combat power has reached the time when it is not inferior to the Buu arc. But there are still at least 3 or 4 years before the Buu arc starts. How did the three of Son Goku improve so much? Vegeta. At this moment, Bulma stepped forward quietly, looked at the red-eyed Vegeta and said indifferently, "We are over. I will only have one man from now on, and that is Bupa." "What? How come?" Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Goku were dumbfounded. No matter how slow the response was, the two of them understood what was going on at the moment. For a moment, Son Goku and Son Goku looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Speak for Vegeta? Buma has a good relationship with them, if he can open his mouth. Speak for Buma? But Vegeta has a good relationship with them. Why? At this time, Vegeta stepped forward with heavy breathing, staring at Buma. Her teeth clenched and blood stains overflowing from the corners of her mouth. Obviously, he was extremely concerned about the fact that Buma turned into Bupa's arms, and even couldn't understand and accept it. "Because I've never been in love with you before." 35. In this regard, Buma did not hide it, and said indifferently, "If it wasn't for Goku's marriage, if it wasn't for Yamcha's affairs, you and I could not have been wrongly together." 35. In the end, there is no relationship between you and me, and the reason why I am with you is just because I don't want to lose Goku as a friend. Hiss. As Buma's words fell, all three in the arena took a deep breath. The three are Bupa, Son Goku and Son Goku. If Son Goku and Son Goku are still unclear, but Bupa has a general understanding of what is going on. After all, there is no love between Buma and Vegeta, at least not during this time period. Although Buma is Yamcha's girlfriend, the relationship between the two is not good. Yamcha is too mediocre, and his low self-esteem prevents him from doing rude things to Buma, so he can only mess around. And Buma has always known about all this, and doesn't even have any feelings for Yamcha. It's just that because Son Goku and Chi-Chi are married, she can't let herself be single. 0 flowers. For Bulma, Son Goku is not only his childhood sweetheart, but also has some thoughts of admiration. Even though the adoration dissipated after Son Goku got married, Bulma didn't want to lose this friend. But if Bulma is single, Son Goku probably won't think about anything. After all, he's a jerk. But Chi-Chi will never be relieved, and it can even be said that he has not been relieved from beginning to end. Look at the original. There's always been a bit of competition between Chi-Chi and Bulma, whether it's more than her husband or children. This is why, despite the fact that Bulma is the daughter of the richest man on Earth, the Son Goku family, who is her childhood sweetheart, is also impoverished. 0. It's not that Son Goku doesn't speak, and it's not that Bulma doesn't help, but because Chi-Chi doesn't allow this to happen, and doesn't allow Son Goku to contact Bulma. Case solved. No wonder Buma's loyalty to me has suddenly reached 98. For a moment, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and his gaze towards a Vegeta not far away became more playful. That Buma, what does this have to do with me? At this time, Son Goku scratched his head embarrassedly and asked with a puzzled face. Because you are my friend. Without hiding and tucking in, Buma directly said what was in his heart. You and I grew up together, and you are my only friend. But as you married Chi-Chi, I found out that she no longer allowed you to associate with me, and I didn't want to lose you as a friend. 35. That's why I fell in love with Yamcha, that's why I chose to marry Vegeta, just to not lose you as a friend. You may not remember Goku, but I know very well that you have saved me countless times since I was a child, and you have never asked for anything in return. This is the true friend in my heart. As soon as these words came out, Son Goku and his son were also embarrassed, especially Son Goku. Thinking that Chi-Chi has been hostile to Bulma since he was a child. He didn't know what the situation was before, but now it seems that he has some understanding. Damn, Bulma, damn you. At this moment, Vegeta's roar resounded. Immediately afterwards, the chi in his body suddenly increased, and the whole person directly entered the Super 2 full power, even stronger than the Super 2 full power by 3 points and 7. Chapter 84 Super Saiyan 2, Tyrannical Vegeta. The next second, Vegeta jumped out violently, punching the sea of blood in both eyes and smashing directly at the place where Bulma was. Caught death. Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed with murderous intent. His mind moved into the Super Saiyan form, and he came to Bulma's side in a flash. Immediately afterwards, Bupa stopped Bulma and turned around, and he punched Vegeta without hesitation. There was a loud bang, and a terrifying airwave swept out at this moment, and the surrounding Namek people were overturned to the ground. What? The screams resounded, and many Namek people were injured at the moment. The aftermath of the battle between the two was so strong that they couldn't bear it even for a moment, and some people even broke down and died. Devil, damn the devil. Seeing this situation, all Namek 060 people were angry. But they're not targeting Bupa, they're targeting Vegeta. After all, if it wasn't for his sudden attack, Bupa would have to help save people, and so many Namek people wouldn't die or get seriously injured. In a library. At this time, Bupa frowned, took Bulma back a distance, and then said, "Wait until all the Namek people leave this place." "Yes, Lord Bupa." Hearing this, Neku did not dare to neglect. He also understood the seriousness of the current situation, and quickly organized the Namek people in the field to transfer the seriously injured clansmen to a distant area. "We're here to help you. Everyone, come to us." At this time, Son Goku and Son Gohan reacted quickly, disregarding the situation on the field, and quickly went to help the Namek people transfer, and at the same time rescue the seriously injured Namek people. Although there are some grudges between them and Bupa, they have not reached the point of being immortal. On the contrary, it was Vegeta's behavior that just shot Bulma, which completely made Son Goku and Son Gohan angry. If it weren't for the injuries and conditions of the Namek people, they would even want to take Vegeta to question themselves. "Bupa, are you alright?" At this moment, Bulma looked at Bupa's slightly trembling arm and asked with a worried expression. At the same time, she was also terrified in her heart. At that moment, she felt like she was going to die, and if Bupa hadn't shot, she would have been completely killed by Vegeta. Thinking of this, Bulma looked at Bupa with more admiration and worry. Ding! The loyalty of the bound characters is increased to 100, and the host Super Saiyan 2 will be rewarded for transformation. The system beeps loudly. Bupa bowed, subconsciously glanced at the Buma who was beside him with eyes full of himself, and the corner of his mouth raised slightly. "Don't worry, I'm fine. Bulma, you also leave this place first, and then I will deal with him. If you dare to hurt my woman, you have to pay for it." "It is good." Nodding, Bulma didn't insist on anything. She knew that her continued stay was only adding a burden to Bupa, and immediately turned around and flew towards the area where the Namek people had moved. Bupa. At this moment, Vegeta's angry roar resounded. It can be seen that the chi of the whole person has increased again, and it has directly increased from 500 billion to 800 billion. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta burst out, and the whole person attacked directly towards Bupa. 800 billion combat power. 35. It is indeed a good strength. 99. Seeing this, Bupa smiled lightly, looked at the attacking Vegeta, and said immediately, "But if that's the case, then you are still not my opponent. Vegeta, you are indeed a genius to be able to perform the Super 2 full power to such a degree. But if you hurt my woman, then there is no need for you to continue to exist." 9. Saying that, Bupa clenched his fists tightly and drank quietly. The next second, lightning jumped, and Bupa's whole body gushed out, and the whole person directly transformed into the form of Super Saiyan 2. In an instant, Bupa's chi instantly doubled, from 1.5 trillion to 3 trillion. With a flick of his body, Bupa avoided the attacking fist from Vegeta. Immediately afterwards, Bupa accelerated to the area in front of Vegeta, and his right hand clenched into a fist and slammed into Vegeta's abdomen. What? The screams resounded. Vegeta was beaten and vomited blood in an instant. The whole body was bent, and the blood continued to overflow from the corners of his mouth. But he did not stop there. With constant roars in his mouth, Vegeta's whole body swelled rapidly, just like the situation in the third stage of Super Saiyan 0. With those red eyes, it was like an irrational beast. In an instant, Vegeta's chi also reached more than 1 trillion, and he raised his huge fist to smash Bupa, but the speed was extremely slow. Beasts that have lost their minds, without any meaning. Seeing this, a trace of disdain flashed in Bupa's eyes, and he could avoid such an attack with his eyes closed. But Bupa didn't choose to do so at the moment. He raised his fist suddenly, and greeted him with a punch without hesitation. Bang, bang. For a time, the fists of Bupa and Vegeta kept slamming together on the court. Countless blood stains splattered, and Vegeta's arm could be seen bursting. Under the disparity of absolute power, Vegeta even made a wrong transformation to increase his power. But he was far from Bupa's opponent. In just a dozen or so breaths, Vegeta was already covered in blood, and her arms were bent and twisted, unable to swing. Bupa. However, Vegeta didn't stop at this moment, kicked out his legs and attacked Bupa. At this moment, he really turned into a humanoid beast, and the only thought in his mind was to kill Bupa. However, such an attack had no effect on Bupa, who was also raising his legs and directly confronting Vegeta. Bang bang 0.7 bang. Bang bang bang. For a while, the sound of explosions continued, and every time it collided, Vegeta's legs would burst into blood mist. In a short period of time, Vegeta's limbs have been completely interrupted, and the whole person is lying on the ground and roaring constantly, but it has no meaning. Vegeta, seeing this, Son Goku in the far area subconsciously shouted that he was about to step forward. In any case, Vegeta was also his friend, and he couldn't just watch him die here. Dad. However, before Son Goku could act, Son Gohan suddenly stopped him. If you save Uncle Vegeta, what will Aunt Buma do? As soon as these words came out, Son Goku's forward movement paused and his expression stiffened. Chapter 85 Killing Vegeta, Buma. This definitely made Son Goku's choice difficult. Both are friendships, but now they have to choose one, which makes Son Goku not sure what to do for a while. Bupa. At this time, Vegeta on the ground was gradually awake, feeling his own condition, raised his head and glared at Bupa. Although defeated, but Vegeta's inner hatred could not be concealed. Vegeta. Looking down at Vegeta on the ground, Bupa still looked indifferent. I was going to give you a chance to surrender, but now it is no longer necessary. 35. Shoot my woman, and your future is only death. Saying that, Bupa raised his hand, and a mass of energy gathered together, and a terrifying murderous intention emerged. Undeniable. Vegeta is a member of the protagonist group, and if he is brought under his command, he can get a good reward. But unfortunately, Bulma is already his woman, so Vegeta's existence has no meaning. The same 20, in such a situation, Vegeta can't take Vegeta. Thinking of this, Bupa didn't hesitate. The energy ball in his hand flew out and attacked Vegeta's body directly. What? The screams resounded, and the power within the energy ball could be clearly seen berserk. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta's body annihilated at a speed visible to the naked eye, and died completely in just a few breaths. Ended. Master Bupa wins. For a time, the cheers of countless Namek people resounded. For Vegeta, they don't have any goodwill, and even many Namek people died because of him. Now that Bupa has him killed, this is definitely good news for the Namek people. Do you died? Vegeta. On the other hand, Son Goku is a bit preoccupied at the moment. Vegeta died. This was definitely something he didn't expect. But at this moment, Son Goku breathed a sigh of relief. If Vegeta hadn't died, then he really didn't know how to choose. Kakarot, you dare to do something to my eldest brother. At this moment, a roar quietly came from a house. With a loud bang, the grass-green air instantly destroyed the house. Immediately afterwards, Broly's figure could be seen flying out of it, exuding terrifying coercion all over his body, and the whole person had also entered the form of Quan Jiao Tu. For a time, the entire Namek vibrated, with endless thunder and lightning beating, and Broly stood in the air like a Shura. At this moment, Broly, what a terrible gas. 39. Transformation of Quan Jiao Tu. He actually completed such a transformation. 66.99. This scene directly caused Son Goku and Son Gohan to open their mouths wide, and their eyes were full of incredible colors. At this moment, they could clearly feel Broly's strength. In the form of Quan Jiao Tu, Broly's power is stronger than their 8 years of cultivation in the time house. Ding! The combat power of the bound character Broly has increased by 1.5 billion, and the tenfold return has been opened. Congratulations to the host's basic combat power increased by 15 billion. Ding! The bloodline of the detection bound character Broly has been upgraded to a medium super bloodline, and the tenfold return is enabled. Congratulations on the host's bloodline being upgraded to a medium super bloodline. The system beeps loudly. Bupa only felt a shock all over, and then the basic combat power of the whole person increased by 15 billion, reaching 45 billion. Not only that, with the return of Quan Cao's blood, Bupa finally mastered the power of Quan Cao at this moment. Angry State, Super Mode. These two transformations were also mastered by Bupa at the first time, but he did not perfect the transformation of Quan Jiao Tu, and still needed his own practice and efforts. Good. Feeling his own situation, Bupa was overjoyed at the moment. His guess was correct, and after Broly's bloodline was improved, he would also be rewarded 10 times as much. This is definitely a huge improvement for Bupa, who has evolved from a secondary super bloodline to a medium super bloodline. Under such circumstances, his own potential and upper limit will also be rapidly increased. The most important thing is that with the mastery of the rage state and the super transfer mode, Bupa's combat power will soar again. Thinking of this, Bupa said immediately, "System, check my personal panel." In the next second, Bupa's own personal information emerges. Bupa, race, Saiyan, bloodline, medium passing super bloodline. Combat power, 45 billion. Transformation, anger state, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan mode. Ability, Prince Tactics, Kaioken, Final Flash. Good. Not bad. 5. After reading his own information, Bupa's face became even more satisfied. Immediately afterwards, his eyes turned to Broly in midair, and he said, "System, check Broly's information." In the next second, Broly's message appeared in front of his eyes. Broly, race, Saiyan, bloodline, medium passing super bloodline. Combat power, 2.3 billion. Transformation, anger, Super Saiyan 2, Quan Cao mode, Quan Cao 2. Ability, Kaioken, Final Flash, Prince Tactics. Loyalty, 100. Chunk out 2. It really is this transformed form. After reading the information, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose slightly. With Broly's 2.3 billion combat power, the Battle 060 power will reach 23 billion after the anger state is displayed. The transformation form of Quanjiao 2 can increase the combat power by 1000 times, which means that Broly will go all out to have 23 trillion combat power. 23 trillion. With a blessing of this kind of power, there are really not many people in the universe who are his opponents, including the future May Majin Buu, who is no exception. The next second, Broly's figure appeared in the field area, staring at Son Goku and Son Gohan not far away, and said, "Kakarot, let's fight. Dare to take action against my eldest brother, and you will all pay for it today." As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. Son Goku and Son Gohan were just waking up from a dream at this moment, and hurriedly said, "Broly, this is a misunderstanding. We didn't shoot Bupa." Hearing this, Broly was taken aback. Subconsciously, he looked at the scene caused by the battle in the area where Bupa was located, and at the bloodstains remaining on the ground. His eyes were full of doubts. He just felt that someone had shot Bupa. Wasn't it Son Goku and the others? But if it wasn't for them, how could they release such a terrifying aura? "Broly, come back." 99. At this time, Bupa said quietly, "The Vegeta who attacked me has been killed by me." Chapter 86. Broly's God assists. Bupa recruits Son Goku and his son. After listening to Bupa's words, Broly immediately realized that he had misunderstood Son Goku and his son. A flash of embarrassment flashed in his eyes. Broly immediately dissipated his violent anger and transformed, and then flew towards Bupa's place. Seeing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan were also relieved. The terrifying aura emanating from Broly just now made them all feel the aura of death. It can be said that if Bupa hadn't stopped Broly, his father and son would only have the possibility to compete with them through fusion transformation. After looking at each other, Son Goku and Son Gohan did not hesitate at this moment, and they also flew towards Bupa. By now, Son Goku and his son also understand that the situation is in Bupa's hands. In this case, unless Bupa is willing to help, otherwise, they have no possibility of resurrecting human beings on Earth. At the same time, Bulma also flew to where Bupa was. The battle is over. Vegeta was dead too, and she didn't need to worry about anything. Big brother. At this time, Broly had already arrived at Bupa's place first, and looked a little embarrassed. "Sorry, my breakthrough was too slow, otherwise I wouldn't let that Vegeta provoke you." "No problem." Waving his hand, Bupa said indifferently, "Broly, your breakthrough is the most important thing. And Vegeta has to be killed by me too. After all, the battle between the two is because of Buma. If the guy who attacked his own woman can't handle it himself, then Bupa really doesn't have much face." Bupa. At this time, Son Goku and Son Gohan hurried to the area at the top of the mountain. He glanced at Bupa and Broly with a complicated look, and then said, "Bupa, can we make a wish using Namek Shenron?" After saying that, Son Goku looked at Bupa expectantly. "Wish." 35. The corners of his mouth rose, and Bupa glanced at Son Goku, understanding what the latter was thinking. His wish is nothing more than wanting to revive the human beings on the earth, and it contains the vitality to revive the earth. Thinking of this, Bupa nodded and said, "I can give you a wish, but there is a prerequisite." "What conditions?" Hearing this, Son Goku was overjoyed and hurriedly asked. After all, with the current strength of Bupa and Broly, it is absolutely impossible for his father and son to snatch Dragon Ball from their hands. The most important thing is that Namek Shenron also needs the language of Namek people to be able to perform. Now that the Namek people have surrendered to Bupa, even Son Goku is not sure to convince the other party to help him. Simple. 99. With a nonchalant smile, Bupa glanced at Son Goku and Son Gohan and said, "I don't want Vegeta to be resurrected." Although Vegeta has been killed, even dead, Earth's Dragon Ball can't revive it. But the Namek Dragon Ball can do it too. But this is not what Bupa wants to see. Since the latter is already dead, he can stay in the underworld with peace of mind. If you let him see the sun again, it will be some trouble. Although Bupa never took Vegeta in his eyes, he also didn't want to have a secretly growing threat. Hearing this, Son Goku was dumbfounded. Unexpectedly, Bupa's condition would be this. The reason why he didn't shoot before is because the Dragon Ball can revive Vegeta. But now it seems that this is obviously impossible. Bupa-kun. At this time, Bulma's voice came. Looking at the sound, Bulma flew over in a hurry, and soon came to Bupa's side, reached out and hugged him and said, "Are you alright? Are you injured?" "No problem." 33. With a wave of his hand, Bupa glanced at Buma and said, "Millie Vegeta is no match for me. It's just that his strength suddenly increased so much, which was a bit surprising at first." After speaking, Bupa turned his head to look aside and said to Son Goku, "By the way, Kakarot, how did you guys improve so quickly? In just 3 months or so, your hasty combat power has increased 8 to 10 times." As soon as these words came out, Broly also looked at Son Goku and his son curiously. The basic combat power is increased 8 to 10 times, and it's only been 3 months. Even he had to pay attention to it. After all, He can achieve this only because his basic combat power itself is not high. Therefore, it was possible to cultivate from 120 million to 800 million in a short period of time. The increase in combat power to 2.3 billion this time is entirely due to the bloodline pill. But how did Son Goku cultivate? With a bitter smile, Son Goku immediately opened his mouth and said, "We reached this point after cultivating in the time house for 8 years. I originally thought that the 8 years of cultivation would not catch up with you, but at least I could catch up with Broly. But now it seems that in the case of fighting alone, my father and son are still not Broly's opponents." Speaking of which, Son Goku's eyes were a little bitter. It took them 8 years of hard work to get to this point, but it really took only 3 months for Broly's combat power to increase to such a high level. I want to learn. Seeing this, Broly's eyes showed a hint of pride, and then he seemed to have thought of something, and looked at Son Goku and Son Gohan quite playfully and said, "Submit to my big brother. My big brother will teach you." I increased my combat power from 120 million to 2.3 billion in just 3 months, but it was all taught by my eldest brother. If you join my eldest brother's command, then my eldest brother may be able to give you pointers. Hiss. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan gasped. They were convinced of Broly's words, and at this moment they suddenly raised their heads to look at where Buppa was, their eyes full of heat and desire. Having experienced what happened on Earth before, both Son Goku and Son Gohan understand that their own weakness is the original sin, Zhao Hao. And their 8 years of ascetic practice is not as good as 3 months of Buppa's instructions to Broly, which has to make them very excited. Interesting. I give full marks to Broly for this assist, as expected of my younger brother. 39. Looking at this scene, Buppa appeared calm on the surface, but he couldn't help but give Broly a compliment. After figuring out the function of the system before, he thought about bringing all the Z warriors under his command to swipe rewards. Not to mention that their loyalty will reach 100, but he is still confident that it will reach 90 points. Now Broly is deliberately concealing the blood purification done to tempt Son Goku and his son, which is definitely good news. Thinking of this, Buppa immediately looked at Son Goku and Son Gohan and said, "If you are willing to submit to me and join the Justice League that I created, then I can indeed give pointers to you. At least I know the transformation of Super Saiyan 4. If you are interested, you can communicate with me." Chapter 87 Master of Life. Buppa, Son Goku and father and son surrender. Super Saiyan 4. With an exclamation, Broly, Son Goku, and Son Gohan all looked at Buppa in astonishment, their eyes filled with unbelievable expressions. "Big brother, does Super Saiyan 4 really exist?" After swallowing, Broly said in disbelief. As soon as these words came out, Son Goku and Son Gohan also stared directly at Buppa. You know, they just finished their Super Saiyan 2 transformation now. Having no clue about Super Saiyan 3, Buppa now says that he has mastered the transformation skills of Super Saiyan 4, which is incredible. Certainly. With the corners of his mouth up, Buppa glanced at the three of Broly, and then said, "As long as you complete the full power of Super Saiyan 2, you can directly transform into Super Saiyan 4. However, if you cross Super Saiyan 3 and become Super Saiyan 4, the basic combat power will be greatly reduced. So, I suggest you guys try the Super Saiyan 3 transformation first. Only by completing the transformation step by step, will the combat power reach its peak when it transforms into Super Saiyan 4. I see. There is such a thing." After listening to Buppa's remarks, the three Broly suddenly realized. Immediately afterwards, their eyes 073 also became hot. If they had some doubts before, but with Buppa's convincing words, they also had to believe that the latter would really be able to transform into Super Saiyan 4 skills. Thinking of this, Broly clenched his fists and said excitedly, "Don't worry, brother, I will complete the transformation of Super Saiyan 3 and Quan Jiao 3 as soon as possible." At this moment, Broly's eyes were full of determination. As the legendary Super Saiyan, his powers increase every moment. But this speed is too slow, but if it transforms into a stronger form, the increase in combat power will be hundreds of thousands of times of soaring. Dad. Son Gohan also turned his head to look at Son Goku at this moment, his eyes full of anticipation and desire. Super Saiyan 4, although it can't be changed yet, as long as they are given a certain amount of time, they will be able to complete the transformation of Super Saiyan 3. At that time, with Buppa's guidance, they can directly transform into Super Saiyan 4, and then, Gohan. Seeing this, Son Goku restrained his inner desire, glanced at Son Gohan and said, "Let Dad decide." 5. After finishing speaking, Son Goku turned his head to look at Buppa and said, "Buppa, what's the matter with the Justice League you said?" 35. Surrender to Buppa. Son Goku doesn't really care about this. After all, he's not Vegeta, and he doesn't have that so-called pride. In Son Goku's view, follow the strong and learn to become stronger. Obviously, Buppa is such a being, so surrendering to him isn't a big deal. Instead, he was more concerned with Buppa's purpose. Justice League. What was the purpose of his creation of this force? If Utron Universe and Frieza were the kings, there would be no temptation, but Son Goku would not compromise and agree. It's done. At the moment, however, Buppa is ecstatic. He knew Son Goku, and he knew that when the latter asked him this question, it meant that his heart had been shaken. The main reason why he did not choose to surrender directly is that he is not sure of his purpose and good and evil. Thinking of this, Buppa calmly said, I formed the Justice League to create an order that maintains justice and peace. 35. There are countless evil people in the universe now, such as Frieza, Cooler, King Cold and others you met before. 99. They are just a member of the evil in the Northern Galaxy, and there are more evils in addition. And in addition to the Northern Galaxy, there are 3 galaxies in the East, West, and South, and there are countless evil people in them. So, my Justice League is committed to eradicating these evils so that the universe can enjoy peace in the order of justice. With great power comes great responsibility. I have known this since I was a child. When I was young, I was weak and could not stop evil, but as I grow up, I will eventually destroy the evil within the universe. But my power alone is not enough to do all this, so I formed the Justice League, convened all the righteous people of the universe to join hands to establish a just order and maintain the peace of the universe. 99. At this moment, Buppa incarnates the Virgin. Every word is eloquent, and the whole person is like the incarnation of the sacred. If this was left in the previous life, there would be no doubt that he would be the leader of a proper pyramid scheme. With great power comes great responsibility. Justice League. Defend the peace of the universe. However, at this moment, Son Goku and others were completely shocked. Looking at Buppa's figure, the last bit of anxiety in Son Goku and Son Gohan also dissipated. How can someone who can say this be a bad person? How can someone who can say these words have an evil heart? And both Son Goku and Son Gohan have always been fighting for the peace of the earth. But compared with Buppa's idea of making the whole universe peaceful, there is no comparison at all. Dad. Subconsciously, Son Gohan's gaze turned to where Son Goku was. Although Son Goku told him to make the decision before, Son Gohan couldn't help but want to say yes. I see, Gohan. Taking a deep breath, Son Goku came back to his senses, reached out and patted Son Gohan on the shoulder and said, all this time we only care about the earth, but we have to say that we are too selfish. Buppa is right, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. The Justice League is fighting for the peace of the entire universe, so we should also join in. As soon as these words came out, Son Gohan suddenly smiled. Son Goku's words have undoubtedly explained his choice, which also makes Son Gohan relieved, and his heart is more anticipation and eager to move. To be a justice warrior who protects the peace of the universe is absolutely the most ideal for Son Gohan, who has been immersed in the protection of human beings since childhood. Looking at each other, Son Goku directly raised his head to look at Buppa and said, Buppa, Gohan and I are willing to surrender to you and join the Justice League you established. I believe that one day in the future, we will be able to realize our dream of bringing peace to the entire universe. Ding. Check if the protagonist Son Goku surrenders and is bound. Ding. Check the sub-protagonist Son Gohan's surrender and whether it is bound. 99. The system notification sound also resounded in Buppa's ear at this moment. Bind. Quickly bind. Hearing the beep, Buppa was overjoyed and spoke without hesitation. Having said all that, isn't it just to subdue Son Goku and Son Gohan? Now that the two have finally surrendered, how could he be refusing? Chapter 88. Summoning Polenga, Buma's mysterious wish. Ding. Binding succeeded. The system prompt sounded loudly, and the loyalty information of Son Goku and Son Gohan appeared in front of Buppa. Son Goku. Race, Saiyan. Bloodline, inferior bloodline. Combat strength, 4 billion. Transformation, Super Saiyan 2. Ability, Kaioken, instant transmission, Kamehameha wave. Spirit bomb. Loyalty, 80. Son Gohan. Race, hybrid Saiyan. Combat power, 5.8 billion. Transformation, Super Saiyan, minus Super Saiyan 2. Ability, Magic Flash, Kamehameha wave, Magic Light Cannon. Loyalty, 82. It's over 80. Not bad. After reading the two's loyalty information, Buppa's mouth lifted slightly, and there was a hint of joy in his eyes. The loyalty of more than 80 means that as long as they work hard, the loyalty of the two will soon reach 90. At that time, he will be rewarded again, and even the reward as the main character of Dragon Ball is definitely not bad. Get up. 99. Thinking of this, Buppa waved Son Goku and Son Gohan up. Immediately afterwards, Buppa said, thank you two for joining. 99. With your participation, the future of the Justice League is even more promising. Master Buppa. Before Son Goku and Son Gohan could say anything, a voice came from not far away. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that the Great Elder came in a hurry. Soon, he arrived at the area where Buppa was, bowed and saluted. Report to Lord Buppa, the Dragon Balls have been collected and can be used at any time. Very good. Nodding with satisfaction, Buppa turned to look at the Great Elder and said, summon Shenron. 35. Yes, 35. With a promise, Neku did not dare to neglect, and with a big wave of his hand, one after another figure could be seen hurriedly approaching. Soon, 7 Dragon Ball appeared in the area in front of Buppa and others. With Neku's voice resounded, come out, Polenga. In the next second, the sky above the new Namek was covered with dark clouds, and countless thunder and lightning began to beat at this moment. You can clearly see the figure of Shenron Polenga appearing in the heaven and earth. Looking down at the people on the ground, Polenga immediately said, "Speak your wishes. Any wish will do, but only 3 chances." Hearing this, Neku did not dare to neglect, turned to look at Bupa and said, "Lord Bupa, what wish do you want?" In this regard, Bupa was not in a hurry, turned his head to look at Son Goku and others on the side and said, "Kakarot, make a wish first." Hearing this, Son Goku hesitated for a while, and then he said, "Master Bupa, our wish is to wait for a while before using it. Now that the earth has not returned to its original state, the humans who rashly resurrect the earthlings will also let them continue to die in natural disasters." This remark immediately aroused Son Gohan's approval. After all, the area has not recovered. Although Polenga can do this, they also understand that they only have one chance to make a wish. Therefore, under such circumstances, it is not easy for them to make a wish rashly. Once the time is wrong, when the human beings on Earth die once, even Polenga cannot resurrect them again. All right. Nodding his head, Bupa also understood Son Goku's plan, and immediately turned to look at Buma and Broly beside him and said, "What wishes do you have?" Namek Shenron can fulfill 3 wishes. The first wish to resurrect the Namek who died before. 35. The second wish transfers all Namek people to the new star Vegeta. As for this third wish, if you need it, you can also choose this. Hearing this, Broly and Buma were a little surprised. Unexpectedly, Bupa actually gave this wish to the 2 of them. Looking at each other, Broly shook his head and said, "Brother, I don't need it." 35. My psychology has only grown stronger, but it is not from the so-called Shenron in exchange for strength. 55. Nodding, Bupa looked at Broly with a hint of admiration. After all, Shenron's effect is still very good, whether it is lifespan, ability or immortality, it can be done. But Broly's low-grade temptation shows his inner firmness, and only in this way can he become stronger. Thinking of this, Bupa turned to look at Buma who was beside him and said, "Buma, how about you?" After a moment of hesitation, Buma looked at Bupa and said, "I do have a wish. 50 flowers. But can you let me talk to Tenten alone?" "Can." Hearing this, Bupa shrugged. Although he didn't know what wish Buma wanted to make, since she didn't want to say it, he wouldn't be able to ask. Immediately, Bupa looked at Neku and said, "Neku, let's start. Resurrect the Namek first, then transfer to the new planet Vegeta. Leave Tenten to cast the last wish." "Yes." With a promise, Neku glanced at Bupa gratefully. The latter would use Shenron's power to revive the Namek who had been killed before, which was definitely beyond Neku's expectations. Immediately afterwards, Neku no longer hesitated, and quickly began to raise his head to make a wish. 0. After a while, Polenga's eyes glowed red. It can be seen that all the Namek people who died in the battle between Vegeta and Bupa have been resurrected. Immediately afterwards, the entire Namek race, except Tenten, were all transferred out of this place, including Neku. "Tanshin, let's start." 35. At this time, Buma took Tanshin out from the side, and urged with a shy expression, "Okay, Buma." Nodding, Tenten didn't hesitate, stepped forward and started to make a wish in the Namek language. After a while, Polenga's eyes were bright red, and a beam of light fell from the sky and then covered Buma's body. "Polenga, your wish has been fulfilled. Goodbye." At this point, Polenga's wish ended. Immediately afterwards, Polenga's figure dissipated, and 7 Dragon Balls that turned into stones fell from the sky and landed in the area in front of Bupa and the others. "Bulma, what wish did you make?" At this time, Son Goku stepped forward with a curious expression and asked. Not only him, but also Bupa and others looked at Buma curiously. Son Goku, shut up. On the contrary, Buma was a little excited at the moment. After scolding Son Goku for a while, he turned to look at Tanshin and said, "Tanshin, if you dare to talk nonsense, I will kill you." Don't. Hearing this, Tantan's expression froze, and he quickly waved his hand and said, "Don't worry, Buma, I will never talk nonsense." "What wish you asked me to make, I have already forgotten. I have not remembered." 7. Chapter 89. Vegeta is in hell, successfully awakened on the 21st. Watching this scene, Bupa and the others became more and more curious, but looking at Buman's almost annoyed expression, Son Goku and the others didn't dare to ask anything rashly. After all, how terrifying Buma is, as a friend, Son Goku knows it well. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku turned his head sharply to look at Bupa and said, "By the way, Bupa, it will take another year for this Dragon Ball to recover. Gohan and I have nothing to do with returning to Earth now. Why don't we go to the new Vegeta Star with you?" Son Goku is not very curious or concerned about the new Vegeta Star. What he wants to do most is to practice with Bupa. After all, Broly said it before. In just 3 months, Bupa helped Broly increase its combat power from 120 million to 2.3 billion. The speed of this kind of strength improvement really made him zero kicky excited, and he couldn't wait to try it. Taking a look at Son Goku, the corner of Bupa's mouth rose and said, "Just now I need to start building artificial Saiyan. You can also help a little by following along. Broly, take out the universe spaceship. It's time for us to go back." "Yes, sir." With a promise, Broly didn't dare to neglect, and quickly took out the universal capsule and released the universe spaceship. Immediately afterwards, the group did not hesitate, and they stepped into the universe spaceship. Moments later, the universe spaceship took off and left the new Namek and began speeding toward the new Vegeta star. Inside the spaceship, Bupa directly arranged for Son Goku and Son Gohan to follow Broly into the 200 times gravity chamber to practice. Tantan was arranged by him to go to the cab to control the universe spacecraft to move forward to ensure that there were no emergencies. After all this was arranged, Bupa was mysteriously brought back to the room by Bulma. After a big battle, Bupa finally understood what Bupa wished by looking at the scarlet on the sheets. For a time, the relationship between the two quickly began to heat up, and a sweet universe voyage set sail again. Bupa, this prince will never die with you. 35. Vegeta has been escorted to hell. Her face is gloomy, and her whole body exudes an extremely evil aura. It can be seen that there is a halo above his head, which is obviously something that only exists after death. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta seemed to think of something, turned her head to look at an area and said, "Come out." Da. The footsteps resounded, and the figures of Lightning Cell, Cooler and Dr. Rock could be seen walking out of the shadows. "Vegeta, you are really embarrassed. Why, are you dead too?" Seeing Vegeta's appearance at the moment, Cell subconsciously sneered, his eyes full of playfulness. In addition, Cooler and Dr. Rock were looking at Vegeta at the moment, and their eyes were even more sneering. Humphrey, with a cold snort, Vegeta glanced at the three of them, and then said, "Cell, if you have something to say, just say it." 35. If you want to experience death again, this prince can do it for you. 35. Hearing this, Cell shrugged, pointed to Dr. Gero beside him and said, "Let him speak." Vegeta. At this time, Dr. Gero stepped forward and stared at Vegeta with piercing eyes. "Would you like to cooperate with us? As long as you agree to cooperate, then we can escape from hell and even return to the world." Hearing this, Vegeta's eyes flashed with a flash of light. He really didn't think that Dr. Gero would actually say such words. Coupled with the existence of Cell and Cooler, Vegeta vaguely felt that this was an opportunity. When he thought of being killed by Bupa, the killing intent in his heart became more and more difficult to suppress. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta said, "Tell me, how do we cooperate? What's your plan?" Hearing this, the three of Cell laughed. When Vegeta appeared, they sensed that the latter was an important part of the plan. Immediately afterwards, the three of Dr. Gero did not hesitate, walked to Vegeta's side and began to talk about their plans. At the same time, in the new Vegeta star at the moment, Neku and other Namek people also appeared. Immediately afterwards, after Neku and Kakao and others told their origins, Kakao and others arranged for them to live in the city. Bang! Suddenly, a roar resounded quietly. Looking at the prestige, it can be seen that a house collapsed in an instant, and the figure of number 21 can be seen walking out of it. 0 successfully devoured the cells of the lightning cell, and the whole person of number 21 also completely woke up at this moment. For a time, the surging aura of number 21 swept out, causing the ground around him to vibrate. Number 21. 35. The 21st. It was at this moment that the Lazuli siblings and number 16 came in a hurry. When they arrived at the area where number 21 was located, the three people's eyes were all locked on number 21, but their expressions became a little more alert. For nothing else, because from number 21's body, they can feel a trace of evil that is very similar to Cell. Originally, number 21 looked a little dignified, but now it is full of charm and maturity. "It's you." Glancing at the Lazuli brothers and sisters, number 21 slowly restrained his breath and said, "Where's Mr. Bupa? Why didn't I feel his presence?" Finished with the ascension, the 21st can't wait to show Bupa. Master Bupa is still on his way back. Glancing at number 21, Lazuli said indifferently, "It will take about 20 days before Lord Bupa's spaceship can return." 55. But now you should fulfill your promise to help the three of us edit that cell program. 99. After all this is done, the artificial Saiyan Project 0.7 explained by Master Bupa must also start as soon as possible. Hearing this, number 21 frowned, somewhat unhappy about not being able to see Bupa for the first time. However, she didn't feel dissatisfied with this. She glanced at Sister Lazuli and number 16 and said, "So, then you can take me to the laboratory. When I get rid of your problems, then I will start trying to artificially Saiyan." Good. 99. It is good. Hearing this, the Lazuli siblings and number 16 are all bright. Immediately afterwards, they no longer hesitated, and quickly walked towards the laboratory with number 21. Seeing the promotion of number 21 this time, Lazuli and number 16 can't wait. Once the programming is done, they can devour the small cells to evolve into a complete body and become more powerful. Chapter 90. The Demon King Dapra comes and returns to the new Vegeta star. Ding! The combat power of the bound character number 21 has increased by 12 billion, triggering a tenfold return. Congratulations to the host for getting 120 billion combat power. On the universe spaceship, a system prompt sounded in Bupa's mind just after the battle was over. In an instant, Bupa felt the power in his body soaring rapidly, originally only 45 billion combat power. At this moment, it suddenly soared to 165 billion, and the exhaustion of the whole person was swept away, and he became full of energy. Is it done? With a flash of light in his eyes, the corner of Bupa's mouth rose and said, in nearly 3 months, the evolution of the ultimate body has finally been completed on the 21st. It has raised 12 billion combat power all at once, and this should be just the beginning. As long as she is given a little time, she should soon be able to reach the 60 billion combat power of Lightning Cell. Thinking of this, Bupa's heart grew more and more anticipation, then turned around and started the battle again with Bulma beside him. At this time, a spaceship in the depths of universe began to move forward rapidly. On the spaceship, the magician Bbook was staring at an area excitedly and said, I found it. I finally found it. 35. Majin Buu, the most powerful Majin Buu in the universe is actually sealed in the weak region of the northern Silver 20 river system. 35. After a long time, Bbook calmed down and turned to look at Alien Road. How long does it take to get to that coordinate? Lord Bbook. Hearing this, the alien didn't dare to be negligent, and hurriedly bowed and saluted. Master Chi, according to the calculation, it will take at least 3 years for the spacecraft to arrive at its rapid advance. In addition, we still need to carry out several supplies, and we will be able to reach the planet where the coordinates are located in 4 years at the latest. 4 years. Hearing this, Bbook frowned a little dissatisfied. But soon, Bbook calmed down and looked at the alien. Let's go to this coordinate immediately. Also, I need to summon the Demon King of the Demon Realm to assist me, so please don't disturb me. Yes, Lord Bbook. Hearing this, the aliens around didn't dare to make trouble, and Bbook didn't stay any longer, turned around and walked towards the room beside him and began to summon the demon world. As Bbook's incantation continued to resound, a mass of black magic energy could be seen emerging, followed by a tall figure walking out. You are the one who called me? Looking down at Bbook, the Demon King Dapra frowned and didn't look very good. Yes. In this regard, Bbook was extremely indifferent, looking at Dapra and said, Demon King Dapra, I need your assistance to resurrect Majin Buu. Saying that, Bbook chanted a special incantation directly. In the next second, Dapra suddenly screamed, covering his head with both hands and screaming constantly. A letter M was covered, and it was engraved directly on his body area. After a while, Dapra stopped screaming, stood up struggling and knelt down on one knee. I have seen Lord Bbook. There is magic in the Supreme Kai world. Dong Supreme Kai Xin immediately noticed the fleeting magic in universe. Immediately afterwards, his face also became extremely serious, and he stood up and said, Jebet, can you lock the position of the devilish energy? Lord Supreme Kai. Hearing this, Jebet did not dare to neglect, and immediately bowed and saluted. The breath disappeared too fast, and I didn't lock it in a flash. However, one of them is now in the eastern Milky Way, and as for where it is, I'm not sure. Hearing this, Dong Supreme Kai frowned and his expression changed quite a bit. The appearance of demonic energy must not be underestimated. 35. Jebet, let's go to the eastern Milky Way to check it out. We must find the source as soon as possible. 99. Yes, Lord Supreme Kai. As soon as he agreed, Jebet didn't dare to neglect. He stepped forward and grabbed Dong Supreme Kai and immediately launched instant transmission to disappear from the spot. At the other end, the universe spaceship that Bupa was riding on returned to the new star Vegeta after a nearly 1-month voyage. As the universe spaceship descended, Bupa took Bulma out of the room, and after meeting with Broly, Son Goku and Son Gohan, the group got out of the spaceship. Welcome back, Lord Bupa. Welcome back, Lord Bupa. 66.99. As Bupa and the others got off the spaceship, Kakao and the others had been waiting outside for a long time, bowing and saluting. Everyone's eyes were full of adoration and fanaticism. Get up. Seeing this situation, Bupa waved his hand at Will to signal everyone to get up, and then said, Kakao, report on what happened during this time. Yes. 9. With a promise, Kakao did not dare to neglect and immediately stepped forward, reporting to your lord, the Namek people came a month ago, and we have placed them in the city. However, the Namek people are not used to living in the city. Later, after the Elder Naku discussed with us, the Namek people collectively relocated to the suburbs outside the city. Master number 21, they are all doing experiments in the laboratory, but we can't get to the specific situation. In addition to this, the rest of the facilities in the city have been completed, and the construction of the entire city has been completely completed. Very good. After listening to Kakao's report, Bupa nodded with satisfaction. Although the strength of Kakao and others is not very good, there is no problem with loyalty. The main thing is all Saiyan, who didn't have 077 time before, but now he can start exercising. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately said, you guys get ready. 35. In 3 days I will start teaching you to practice. 35. As the proud Saiyan clan, your strength needs to be improved. Yes. Hearing this, Kakao and the others were overjoyed. Bupa's pointers, they've been waiting for a long time. The last time Bupa came back, they wanted to say, what happened to the new Namek people? But now it's different. With Bupa's promise, they can start exercising in 3 days. Bupa, can I and Gohan be together too? At this time, Son Goku pulled Son Gohan forward and his eyes were full of anticipation. During this month, they and Broly have also improved a lot in their indoor practice of 200 times the gravity. But compared to Bupa's personal instructions, all this is nothing. They are also a little eager and urgent. Not urgent. Looking at Son Goku, Bupa said indifferently, "Your strength is much stronger than Kakao and others. I instructed their cultivation to have little effect on you. Next, you only need to practice with Broly. When your strength reaches your level, you can only improve as soon as possible by fighting close to the limit." 35. Chapter 91. The second female Shura field. Artificial Saiyan germ. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan nodded thoughtfully. They also knew that what Bupa said was true. After all, they had been exercising frantically in the time room for 8 years. It can be said that under such circumstances, they continue to carry out regular exercise has little effect. Only the battle on the edge of life and death can help them rapidly improve their strength. Rest assured. Taking a look at Son Goku and Son Gohan, Bupa said indifferently, "You guys practice with Broly first." 99. When the time comes, I will also join the practice together. It is good. Hearing this, both Son Goku and Son Gohan's eyes lit up. Bupa personally joined the practice. That is definitely a huge opportunity for them. After all, with Bupa's strength, they are no opponent at all. Under such huge pressure, they will improve faster. Thinking of this, Son Goku said immediately, "Then this matter is settled." 5. After speaking, Son Goku turned to look at Broly not far away and said, "Broly, how about we go to practice?" "Okay." Hearing this, Broly nodded and said proudly, "It just so happens that I have to defeat Kakaroto this time. Come with me, you too." 99. After saying that, Broly galloped out of the city quickly. Obviously, he still cares very much about the Kakaro meal. Even if he has absolute certainty to defeat Son Goku and Son Gohan, he doesn't have much certainty that he will be able to survive the combination. Seeing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan did not hesitate, and immediately followed. Soon, the three figures left the city area. Immediately afterwards, Kakao and the others did not hesitate, and turned back to prepare for the training 3 days later. Bupa, on the other hand, took Bulma straight towards the laboratory. Soon, Bupa and Bulma entered the laboratory. You can see where number 21 is busy with various instruments. There are 3 nutrition cabins standing in the area behind her, and you can see the Lazuli siblings and number 16 lying in them. Number 21 inches. Seeing this, Bupa shouted and walked forward with Buma. Master Bupa. Seeing Bupa's return, the busy number 21 paused, and then galloped towards Bupa with a look of joy. Soon, number 21 came to the area in front of Bupa and jumped into his arms without hesitation. "Cut, bad woman." Seeing this, Bulma pouted and looked a little jealous. However, she also understood that Bupa, the king of Saiyan, could not be possessed by her alone. Not to be outdone, he stepped forward, and Buma said, "Number 21, pay attention to your image." You. Seeing Buma's provocative appearance, number 21's eyes flashed. "I didn't expect you to become an adult woman." "Why, willing to give up everything?" 35. I saw that you were very excited before. It seems that it has been something you have been looking forward to for a long time for Lord Bupa to take you away. You are talking nonsense. Hearing this, Bulma's face flushed. Although she likes Bupa now and even made up her mind to be a part of it, but it doesn't mean that her Buma is a dissolute person. On the 21st, this remark is definitely an insult to Buma. Okay. Seeing the two fighting each other, Bupa gave a wry smile and immediately said, "Buma, number 21, you are all my women, and I hope you can live together as a family. Instead of bickering like this, there should be more communication between your sisters." Hearing this, number 21 and Bulma pouted, thinking that the other party took away a part of themselves. However, it was impossible for the two women to refute anything. After looking at each other, the two sides did not fight each other. Immediately after, number 21 said, "Bupa, I have already tried. The technology for artificial Saiyan is almost perfect, and now all that's needed is experimentation." Saying that, number 21 pointed to the table not far away, and there were quite a few petri dishes placed there. If you look closely, you can see that there are some germs in it, which are the core of the artificial Saiyan. "Is it done?" With a flash of light in his eyes, Bupa said with a look of joy, "Take me to see." Saying that, Bupa walked forward with number 21 in his arms. After seeing the germs on the table, Bupa asked, "What should I do next?" "Simple." Hearing this, number 21 smiled lightly, and then said, "Just create some training cabins. However, this is only the first germ. I'm not sure if it is a real artificial Saiyan, there may be some defects." "No problem." Waving his hand, Bupa said indifferently, 66 Then start the experiment directly. 35 In the next time, I hope to improve this technology as soon as possible, so as to create more artificial Saiyan. Bulma, you also stay to help number 21. With the strength of the two of you, you should be able to finish it faster. It is good. Hearing this, Bulma nodded. She also understands what artificial Saiyan technology means for Bupa. At this moment, she doesn't care about competing with number 21 for jealousy, and she is determined to complete this technology as soon as possible, so as to realize Bupa's great plan of the Justice League. Immediately, Bulma looked towards road 21, number 21. Let's see who will complete the artificial Saiyan first. Okay, with a flash of light in his eyes, number 21 looked at Buma without any fear. You can't match me with the wisdom of this little girl. 5. I will definitely create an artificial Saiyan faster than you. After speaking, number 21 was no longer hanging on Bupa, and quickly got down and started to manipulate the materials on the table of Zhao Zhao. Seeing this situation, Bulma no longer hesitated, and quickly stepped forward to the operating table opposite number 21 and began to make vows. In an instant, the war between the two broke out. Although it is not a life and death competition, it is also an academic and intellectual competition. This scene made Bupa's mouth twitch. He, who had been competed by the two just now, was suddenly abandoned. Looking at the two girls who were obsessed with research, Bupa smiled slightly, and immediately didn't bother, turned around and left the laboratory. Although he had ideas, he didn't know anything about scientific research, otherwise he wouldn't have gone to Earth to snatch Buma, number 21 and others. After leaving the laboratory, Bupa also started his own deployment, and started training Kakarot and others in the morning. In the afternoon, go to Broly, Son Goku and Son Gohan to fight with them to improve their strength. Chapter 92 Hurry in March. The birth of artificial Saiyan. Time flies, and 3 months have passed in the blink of an eye. During these 3 months, Son Goku, Son Gohan and Broly have all grown in power, and because of Bupa's tyranny, this has also led to a big improvement in their ability to transform themselves. Son Goku, in particular, almost finished his Super Saiyan 3 transformation not long ago, although it failed in the end. But the outburst also shocked Son Gohan and Broly. The power of Super Saiyan 2 is 4 times that of Super Saiyan 2, which is twice the power of Super Saiyan 2. And that is only the first time to enter the Super 3. If you can complete the full power of Super 3, it is bound to be even more powerful. For a time, Son Goku, Son Gohan and Broly practiced more and more frequently, and even at the end they were fighting for their lives. This also led to the intensification of the battle between the 3 of them, and the damage caused was also getting bigger and bigger. In desperation, Bupa could only let the 3 leave the new Vegeta star and go to the uninhabited planet not far away to fight, and at the same time send Tantan to follow them to treat them. In addition, the improvement of Kakarot and others is also rapid. Under the special training of the Gravity Room and Bupa, the combat power of the 12 Saiyans including 077 Kakarot has almost reached about 50,000. It's not very powerful, but it's a good start. With the combat power reaching 50,000, Kakarot and the others' self-confidence in themselves has also been greatly enhanced. After all, before this, they all thought that they had no possibility of improvement due to their bloodline. Even with the example of Son Goku, they just think the latter is a special case. But now with the improvement of their strength, Kakarot and others have completely recovered their self-confidence, and they are madly cultivating themselves and tempering their combat power every day. In such a situation, Bupa was relieved. However, this does not mean that Bupa has not improved. On the contrary, his combat power has increased tremendously. On the 16th, Lazuli and Lapis evolved into a complete body, and then devoured the little cell. Everyone has increased their combat power by about 5 billion, and Bupa has increased his combat power by another 100 billion after receiving 10 times the return of the Lazuli siblings. Originally, he only had 145 billion combat power, but now it has reached 245 billion. For this reason, Bupa must not calm down and meditate, so as to adapt to the increase of his own strength as soon as possible. Fortunately, Son Goku followed Bobo to practice meditation. After a brief introduction, Bupa has already started, and his control of his own power has become more and more skilled. Master Bupa. On this day, there was a burst of cries. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that Lazuli hurriedly came to Lattice Room, and said excitedly, "Success! The artificial Saiyan created by number 21 and Bulma is complete." Finished. Hearing this, Bupa suddenly stood up, and immediately did not care about what he was meditating on. Artificial Saiyan. This is the basis for him to become stronger, and it is also the cornerstone for him to become stronger. Now that it's finally done, it's definitely good news for Bupa. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately asked, "Lazuli, show me." 55. Yes. As soon as she agreed, Lazuli didn't hesitate and walked towards the laboratory with Bupa. It didn't take long for Bupa and Lazuli to arrive in the laboratory. It can be seen that in the area not far away, number 21 and Bouma are looking at each other proudly, obviously very satisfied and proud of the artificial Saiyan they created. The 21st. Bulma. Seeing this, Bupa called out without hesitation. When he arrived at the area where the 2 women were, Bupa immediately asked, where is the artificial Saiyan?" 5. Hearing this, number 21 and Bulma smiled slightly, and after looking at each other, they pointed to the 2 cultivation cabins not far away and said, "It's done. Bupa, you can go and have a look." "It is good." With a promise, Bupa stepped forward immediately. It can be seen that there are 2 Saiyan children in the 2 breeding cabins at this moment. It's just that one of the artificial Saiyans has a tail and the other one doesn't. In addition, One of the artificial Saiyans seems to have an infinite energy furnace in his body, and he has 10 million combat power just after birth. On the other hand, the other man-made Saiyan with a tail has only about 100 combat power, which is not a grade at all. A different man-made Saiyan. The comprehension of two technologies. Seeing this scene, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, "System, check the information of the two." In the next second, two artificial Saiyan messages appeared in front of Bupa's eyes. First generation. Race, artificial Saiyan. Bloodline, superior bloodline. Combat strength, 10 million. Ability, infinite energy furnace. Number 1. Race, artificial Saiyan. Bloodline, superior bloodline. Combat strength, 100. Transformation, great ape. Ability, none. Good. After reading the messages of the two artificial Saiyans, Bupa couldn't help laughing. "Bupa, you said who of us won?" "Bupa, whoever we created artificial Saiyan is more powerful." At this time, number 21 and Buma approached the previous person and hugged Bupa's arm and asked, their eyes full of anticipation. Obviously, they are extremely confident in their creations. But it's hard to say who wins and who loses, so Bupa is still needed to judge this. Seeing this, Bupa's mouth twitched. Which is stronger or weaker? Which also makes it difficult for him to choose. The creation of number 21 is obviously based on artificial human technology. Not only is it born with strong combat power, but it even has the existence of an infinite energy furnace. It can be said that this artificial Saiyan only needs to be cultivated a little, and then at least the combat power can reach hundreds of millions, billions. On the other hand, the artificial Saiyan created by Bulma is simpler, but also the closest to the real Saiyan. Although the Saiyan she created is not very powerful, it perfectly reproduces all of Saiyan's abilities. It can be said that the artificial Saiyans created by the two have their own merits. In the early stage, we can see the steady win of number 21. But in the long run, the artificial Saiyan created by Bulma has more potential. Not equal to each other. After a little pondering, Bupa then made a judgment. The artificial Saiyan created by number 21 is a real warrior, and it takes a few years to build a fighting force and perfect the Justice League. 39. But the artificial Saiyan created by Bulma is the main being of the Saiyan revival. As long as enough artificial Saiyans are produced, the entire Saiyan race can be completely revived. Chapter 93. The Fall of the GT Universe. Angel Curse. This. After listening to Bupa's narration, both Buma and number 21 were dumbfounded. Unexpectedly, Bupa would actually say that the artificial Saiyans of the two sides are on the same level, which makes them a little unbelievable. Subconsciously, Buma and number 21 immediately said, "Bupa, what are the shortcomings of my creation of artificial Saiyan?" The two girls have already started to compete at this moment, and they are eager to know where the mistake is and to completely improve it again. Defect. Glancing at the two women, Bupa waved his hand helplessly and said, "There is no flaw." 99. The artificial Saiyan you have created has its own merits, and there is no inherent flaw in it. 35. Number 21 was created with artificial human technology, so the artificial Saiyan you created is more like an artificial human. Bulma is based on cellular technology, and the artificial Saiyan you create is almost a perfect replica of the real Saiyan, so their value is also huge. 35. Having said this, Bupa pondered for a while, and then continued to speak. But the artificial Saiyan created on the 21st has Saiyan blood, but there is no possibility of turning into Super Saiyan. 99. But they also have the possibility to evolve into a complete body, which is not inferior to the transformation of Super Saiyan. The artificial Saiyan created by Bulma can be transformed into a Super Saiyan, but in essence, the growth cycle will be greatly extended, and it will take at least 10 years to fully grow. That's why I say that the artificial Saiyans created by the two of you are not equal to each other, and each has its own advantages, but they are all artificial Saiyans that I need. As soon as these words came out, number 21 and Bulma were enlightened, but after nodding their heads, they both showed knowing smiles. In any case, he did not lose to the opponent. And Bupa has already said that the artificial Saiyan he created is what he needs. Thinking of this, number 21 and Bulma immediately looked at Bupa and said, "So are we going to step up and create more artificial Saiyan now?" "Not bad." 99. Nodding, Bupa looked at the second woman with awe and said, Create more artificial Saiyans." With the artificial Saiyan created by number 21, in 5 years, the Justice League will be able to completely spread across the universe. With the artificial Saiyan created by Buma, in 10 years Saiyan will completely dominate the entire universe, making the Justice League an indestructible existence. But one thing is that after creating artificial Saiyan, they must be loyal to me and loyal to the Justice League. So, both of you, 21st and Buma, have to think about how to fix this. 99. After speaking, Bupa stared straight at the two girls. To be honest, both men-made Saiyans are almost always loyal to Bupa, but this is not what Bupa needs. What he needs is that each artificial Saiyan has at least 90 loyalty to himself, and only in this way can he trigger 10 times the return. Only in this way can these countless artificial Saiyans ascension be transformed into his power, helping Bupa to continuously become stronger, even beyond the limits of this world, beyond the gods of destruction, angel, grand priest, and even the Dragon Ball superworld. It's Xeno, loyalty. Nodding thoughtfully, number 21 and Buma looked at each other, then looked at Bupa and said, "Don't worry, I will be able to solve this soon. 99. Give me a little time, and the problem of artificial Saiyan loyalty will definitely be solved." Hearing this, Bupa nodded in satisfaction, and when he was about to embrace the two daughters and kiss them, he said, "Thank you for your hard work." In response, both number 21 and Buma smiled slightly, looked at each other, and said, "Then how do you want to reward us?" "Award?" Raising his brows, Bupa glanced at number 21 and Buma in his arms, and the corners of his mouth raised. "Okay, then the king will reward the two concubines well." Saying that, Bupa picked up the two girls and walked towards the lounge. Cut. Lazuli saw this scene, pouted and said, "Three bastards, when I don't exist." Even so, there was a glimmer of envy in Lazuli's eyes. However, Lazuli is a girl after all, and it is impossible for her to follow her with her thin skin. Looking at the closed door, Lazuli turned angrily and walked outside the laboratory. 7 days later, Bupa walked out of the laboratory in high spirits. Meanwhile, number 21 and Bulma continue to start the creation and research of artificial Saiyan. 0 for flowers 0. Master Bupa. Master Bupa. Just as Bupa was about to return to the palace to rest, a voice came quietly. Looking at the sound, Kakao's figure can be seen hurriedly coming. Soon, Kakao came to the area in front of Bupa, bowed and saluted. "Lord Bupa, an alien came from outside the royal city, and he said he wanted to see you, Lord. And that person's strength is very strong, and none of us are their opponents. Someone wants to see me, and also came to the new Vegeta star to find trouble." Raising his brows, Bupa's eyes showed a hint of surprise, and then he said, "Go, show me." "Yes, Lord Bupa." 0. With a promise, Kakao did not dare to neglect, and took Bupa towards the outside of the royal city. Soon, Bupa came to the area outside the arena, and you could see a man holding a scepter on the ground in the distance, dressed in angel to serve. His appearance was similar to Vado's, but with black hair, black eyes, and white skin. The woman is standing there. "Angel? How is this possible? Where did GT Universe come from?" Angel. Brows raised, Bupa was shocked, and his eyes were full of incredible colors. At the same time, Bupa's whole body became tense. If the woman in front of her is really Angel, then her existence should not be underestimated. Even with Angel's power, he could kill him in minutes, which was definitely something Bupa didn't want to see. System 33. Subconsciously, Bupa then ordered, "Check the information of the person in front of you." In the next second, the woman's message emerged. Carries, race, fallen angel, bloodline, top bloodline, combat power, transformation, ability, psi. After reading Callis's message, Bupa couldn't help taking a deep breath. Battle strength, transformation and abilities are all question marks, which means that even the system cannot judge her strength. The most important thing is that this Callis is really an angel, but it is the legendary fallen angel, not the righteous angel. 7. Chapter 94 Becoming Gods of Destruction. Rejecting the Gods of Destruction position. Mr. Bupa, it's not a good habit to look at people without knowing them. Suddenly, Carrie spoke quietly. "What?" She sensed that I was probing her. 35. The pupils shrank, Bupa's heart was shocked, and the whole person's emotions became restless at this moment. Unexpectedly, this angel was so terrifying. The power of the system's inspection has been detected, which is simply incredible. "Who are you?" Resisting the horror in his heart, Bupa took a deep breath and looked at Carries to ask. At the same time, he was also quite curious about the purpose of the latter's coming here. After all, there is no communication between the two parties, and there is no such thing as angel in GT Universe. But now there is an angel in GT Universe, and it is still a fallen angel, which must not make him alert and fearful. "My name is Carries." With a slight smile, Callis glanced at Bupa and then said, "King Bupa, would you like to talk to me in another place?" "It is good." Hearing this, Bupa nodded in agreement. Although he didn't know what Carries' purpose was, he also knew that he had no room for rejection. With the latter's power, if he dared to refuse, he would definitely die. Even if he has a system, he can't be Angel's opponent in a short period of time. He can be reckless, but Bupa won't die when he needs to. When he came across, he was the grandson who had been pretending to be in one pacing for many years, and he didn't mind such a thing. So brave. As expected of King Bupa. With a slight smile, Curse gave Bupa an admiring look, and then waved the scepter in her hand. In the next second, a purple-black brilliance disappeared directly from the spot with the figures of Bupa and Carries. Seeing this, Kakao was dumbfounded for a while. Bupa was taken away, and he didn't know whether the other party was friend or foe, which is not good news. If something happened to Bupa, the consequences would be unimaginable. "No, I must report the matter to Lord Broly." 35. With a murmur in his mouth, Kakao's expression changed, and without any hesitation, he turned around and ran towards the area where the Universe spaceship was placed. A moment later, the Universe spacecraft took off and flew towards the planet where Broly, Son Goku, and Son Gohan were located. Unnamed planet. A purple-black light beam descended from the sky, and the figures of Bupa and Callis walked out of it. Looking around, Bupa's eyes followed to look at Callis in front of him and said, Miss Callis, there is no other life in this place. I don't know why you are looking for me this time. You and I should not know each other, and there is no such thing as a grudge. After speaking, Bupa stared at Callis, trying to figure out the latter's purpose and thoughts. King Bupa needn't worry. 35. Seeming to see Bupa's thoughts, Callis at this moment smiled slightly, walked to a rock beside and sat down. For a while, her figure better than Vados was undoubtedly revealed, and because she was a fallen angel, the aura she exuded was extremely charming. Just looking at it, Bupa felt some reaction, not because he had no control, but because he couldn't resist the charm that Callis exuded. King Bupa. But before Bupa could think about anything else, Callis quietly said, Are you interested in being the gods of destruction? Gods of destruction? What's the situation? Raising his brows, Bupa looked at Callis in surprise. Did he know that GT Universe was not under Xeno's command, and it would be surprising to see a fallen angel who now wants to make himself a gods of destruction? This is simply ridiculous. What is gods of destruction? Bupa pretended to ask. At the same time, Bupa pondered what the purpose of Callis was. The highest god in the entire universe. After becoming gods of destruction, you can dominate universe's life and death power. Taking a look at Bupa, Callis explained patiently, if King Bupa agrees, then I can help you become gods of destruction, above the entire universe. Ha. Hearing this, Bupa appeared calm on the surface, but inside he sneered. He wasn't sure whether being gods of destruction would take precedence over the entire universe, but he knew that being gods of destruction would be unpleasant for himself. Do you really think that you are an idiot and don't know that your life will be linked to Supreme Kai after becoming gods of destruction? He knows too well what the old Supreme Kai and Dong Supreme Kai are in this universe. 0. It is a waste material without much force, and it is simply an idiot's behavior to let his own life be linked with it. And he never believed in the pie in the sky, if it was in Dragon Ball Super Universe. But this is the GT world, without Grand Priest, without Xeno, the fallen angel in front of you is the most terrifying. Sorry, I refuse. Without the slightest hesitation, Bupa said without hesitation, I have no interest in becoming a so-called god. If Miss Callis is looking for me for this, I'm sorry. After speaking, Bupa looked at Callis warily. If the latter becomes angry, his situation is really dangerous. Refused? Unexpectedly, Callis just glanced at Bupa in surprise, and then said indifferently, it seems that King Bupa knows more than I thought. 5. And King Bupa's will is stronger than I thought. But since you refused, it seems that we only have the possibility of cooperation. 99. King Bupa, you shouldn't refuse my request for cooperation from a weak woman, right? Saying that, Callis looked straight at Bupa with her watery eyes. Then I looked so pitiful that Bupa almost broke the defense. Cough. With a light cough, Bupa kept calm for 0.7 hours, looked at Callis and said, Miss Callis, let's open the skylight and say something bright. What do you mean by cooperation? If it is beneficial to this king, and this king is within his power, then I will definitely not refuse. Hearing this, Callis smiled slightly. Immediately afterwards, Callis didn't give a shit anymore, stepped forward and said, King Bupa, have you heard of the Lord Universe? Master Universe? Brows raised, Bupa thought deeply. The main universe in the latter's mouth is likely to be the Dragon Ball Super Universe, the 12th universes in charge of Xeno, and that is the main world of Dragon Ball. GT Universe, after all, is just a part of the anime. Although he understood in his heart, Bupa said with a blank face on the surface, what is that? Chapter 95 Curse Purpose, the Temptation of Ultra Instinct. Hearing this, Callis smiled indifferently. She knew very well that Bupa could not know the main universe. After all, the latter was just a superhero in the GT universe. Thinking of this, Callis immediately explained, the so-called main world is the world ruled by Xeno. There are 18 universes under Xeno. But 6 universes were destroyed because of angering Xeno, so there are 12 universes left. Every universe has gods of destruction. They are above the gods and control the life and death of the universe. Hearing this, Bupa nodded. This is about the same as what he knows, but he just doesn't understand what the so-called cooperation of this curse is. Does she want to go to the main universe? Is there a way to go to the main universe in GT universe? For a time, Bupa was quite excited. If there really is a way to enter the main universe, then he really wants to see it. The 7th universe is Super Saiyan God. 6th universe is Vados, Caulifla, Gale. 10th universe is X. 11 universe is 20 Macaritas. These are the beautiful Saiyan and Angel from the previous Dragon Ball Super original anime. Although Carries in front of her is not inferior to them, and even looks more beautiful, it is not a concept at all. Miss Curse. 35. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately asked, what do you want to cooperate with me? Simple. With a slight smile, Callis looked at Bupa and said, I want King Bupa to help me go to the main universe and bring something back. 9. As a price, I can teach you, King Bupa, some of the methods that only gods can cultivate. Only God can cultivate the means. Could it be Ultra Instinct? With a flash of light in his eyes, Bupa was excited, but on the surface he looked at Callis calmly and said, oh, I don't know what makes Miss Callis care so much. Also, what is the means by which God can cultivate? Hearing this, Callis gave Buppa a surprised look. She did not expect the latter to be so calm, which was completely different from what she imagined. After all, the conditions she offered were not low, and the temptation for God to be able to cultivate methods was huge. Not to mention Buppa, even the gods of destruction in the main universe couldn't help it. But soon, Callis also reacted. Although the Buppa in front of me is good, it is essentially just a T-native. Maybe even Supreme Kai has never been exposed to it. How can he know the value of magic skills? Thinking of this, Callis's eyes flashed a hint of helplessness, but she quickly calmed down and said, I need King Buppa to help me get a Super Dragon Ball back. As long as you agree, then I can teach you Ultra Instinct. Super Dragon Ball. Ultra Instinct. Hearing this, Buppa's breathing became three-pointed. Even if he tried his best to suppress the restlessness in his heart, he still couldn't calm down at the moment. Ultra Instinct. That's Ultra Instinct. In Dragon Ball Super, even gods of destruction are difficult to master, and even only top angels are qualified to practice the magical skills. Curse in front of her actually took out Ultra Instinct as her reward, which is definitely an attractive existence for Buppa. However, the latter wanted to get the Super Dragon Ball, which was also unexpected by Buppa. A Super Dragon Ball, logically speaking, is useless. After all, it takes 7 Super Dragon Balls to summon a Super Shenron. So what is the purpose of Callis who wants a Super Dragon Ball? Miss Curse. After a little pondering, Buppa immediately asked, I wonder what that Super Dragon Ball is? Also, what's so great about Ultra Instinct? Looking at Buppa with a dazed face, the corners of Carrie's mouth twitched slightly. This feeling of playing the kin to the cow made her extremely unhappy, but she had no choice. After a little pondering, Callis continued to speak. Super Dragon Ball is a huge Dragon Ball, the size of which is comparable to the size of the planet we are currently in. 35. As for Ultra Instinct, it is a method that is difficult for gods to repair, and once Ultra Instinct is completed, even gods will not be your opponent. Besides that, Ultra Instinct can enhance your attack, defense, combat, and even give you near-predictive abilities to evade all deadly attacks. 99. If you master it, then facing the existence of the same level, no matter what means the other party uses, they will not even be able to touch you. 35. Listening to Callis's explanation, Buppa appeared to be suddenly enlightened on the surface. But inside he was even more curious about the latter's purpose. After all, to put it badly, that Super Dragon Ball is something shared by the 6th universe and 7th universe, as well as something unique to the main universe. The latter wants to steal the Super Dragon Ball himself, which is also dangerous, and if he is discovered, he will surely die. However, if there is a chance to go to the main universe, Buppa will not choose to give up. If the protagonists such as Son Goku of the main universe are also included, then there will be huge benefits and rewards. Thinking of this, Buppa said immediately, Miss Curse, I have to say that your conditions are very tempting, and I have no intention of rejecting it. But as you said, the Lord Universe is so dangerous, it is impossible for me to rush the now. So, I need you Oato to teach me to become stronger. After I completely master Ultra Instinct, I will go to the Lord Universe to help you find the Super Dragon Ball. How about it? After speaking, Buppa looked straight at Callis. It wasn't his looks and body that moved him, but the Ultra Instinct that the latter mastered made him long for it. Hearing this, Callis nodded with a smile on her face. She naturally understood that the current Buppa went to the main universe to die, and it was impossible to bring back the Super Dragon Ball. The reason why she chose to appear at this time, and even found Buppa's cooperation, was to bet on the latter's growth and future. As a fallen angel, she has lived in the universe for thousands of years, and naturally she has noticed how terrifying Buppa's ascension has been in just a few years. It's done. Seeing this, Buppa was ecstatic. Callis agreed. This also means that he will be able to obtain the Ultra Instinct cultivation method immediately. And as long as you give him a little time, after completing the transformation of Super Saiyan 4, he will be sure to go to the main universe. After all, in Dragon Ball, Super 4 Vegeta was stronger than Super Blue Vegeta. This also means that the Super 4 transformation is not inferior to the Super Blue form in a sense. Chapter 96 A Deal, Broly's Temptation. Very good. After a while, Buppa calmed down, looked at Callis, and said, if that's the case, then I'll ask Miss Callis for more advice from now on. But I have one condition. 99. That is to practice with my brother Broly. Ultra Instinct. Buppa is determined to win. And there is an angel pointing, which can make him stronger. Even if the Callis in front of her is a fallen angel, she is not comparable to ordinary people. Most importantly, Buppa wanted Broly to join the practice. After all, Broly's loyalty to him is 100%, and it can also trigger 10 times the return. In this way, Broly can become stronger, and Buppa can also become stronger. At the same time, even if Buppa goes to the main universe in the future and is not in the GT universe, Broly can also have the ability to suppress everything to help him protect the foundation. Looking at Buppa, Callis nodded and said, your brother Broly is also the legendary Super Saiyan. His potential is no worse than yours, but he just didn't get the correct guidance. King Buppa, I will try my best to help you and your brother Broly become stronger in the future. I hope you can fulfill your promise by then. Certainly. The corners of his mouth rose, and Buppa looked at Callis and said, Buppa, promise to do everything I promise. 35. Of course, the premise of all this is that you didn't lie to me. After the two reached an agreement, Buppa and Callis stopped staying, and immediately left the planet and returned to the new Vegeta planet. The new Vegeta star, a purple-black light beam descended from the sky, and the figures of Buppa and Callis came out of it. Brother, Buppa! 95. At this time, several voices came. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that Broly, Son Goku and Son Gohan have come back and are rushing forward at this moment. After arriving at Buppa's side, Broly even more alertly looked at Callis and said, "Who are you?" Obviously, Broly is still quite wary of Callis, an outsider. If it wasn't for Buppa being safe now, he would even attack him without hesitation. Broly apostrophe. Seeing this, Buppa waved his hand to stop Broly, and then said, "This is Miss Curse." 35. From now on she will teach you and me to practice. What? Hearing this, Broly, Son Goku, and Son Gohan were dumbfounded, and looked at Callis in disbelief, their eyes filled with unbelievable colors. This woman actually got such a high evaluation from Buppa. The latter will teach Buppa and Broly. Doesn't that mean her power is over Buppa? Thinking of this, Son Goku and Son Gohan's eyes were full of horror. Unexpectedly, there is an existence beyond Buppa in universe, and she is still a woman. Brother, are you sure? Broly even opened his mouth blankly, looking at Callis with suspicion. King Buppa. At this time, Callis said quietly, "Why don't you let Broly try? As long as he can reach me, I'll throw in the towel." Saying that, Callis looked at Broly playfully, her eyes full of playfulness. As a fallen angel, her power is unfathomable, so how could she care about being promoted to Broly, who has only a few billion battle power? Okay. Before Buppa could speak, Broly said eagerly, "I want to see what qualifications you have to instruct me and my eldest brother to practice." "Brother, let me try it out." "It is good." Looking at Broly, Buppa also understood that the latter was not convinced. After all, Broly is the only one who recognizes Buppa, and then Son Goku and Son Gohan. What if Callis is Angel? The latter doesn't know and is naturally fearless. With Buppa's consent, Broly no longer hesitated at this moment, and immediately transformed into Quan Jiao 2 with a loud drink. In an instant, Broly's combat power increased to about 2.5 trillion. Without the slightest hesitation, Broly slammed into Callis with a punch. However, the reality is cruel. Although Broly was fast enough, Callis avoided his attack with an understatement. After doing all this, Callis held the scepter in her hand and said indifferently, "Mr. Broly, this speed can't beat me." Damn. Hearing this, Broly's forehead was blanched, and he glared at Callis, turning around suddenly and continuing to attack. FK fight. As the low roar continued, Broly's fist attacked Callis like a storm. However, no matter how he attacked, he couldn't touch Callis in the slightest. Not only that, Callis's figure walked back and forth in place. Even if she didn't make a move, it made Broly extremely embarrassed. So strong. What a terrible existence. 35. This scene directly caused Son Goku and Son Gohan to take a deep breath, and there was no more suspicion in their eyes when they looked at Callis, but more of a shock. For nothing else, it is the latter's hand that is too showy. Broly's all-out efforts couldn't help her, and she didn't even touch the corners of her clothes. What a terrible method. Damn. Do you just dodge? 99. At this moment, Broly's roar resumed again. It can be seen that his body has grown to more than 3 meters in an instant, and the anger of the whole person has increased to 25 trillion in a state of anger. Immediately afterwards, Broly suddenly accelerated and attacked Callis and scolded, "If you have the ability, defeat me head-on, or I will never recognize your existence." Even so, Broly has already recognized Callis in his heart. After all, being able to play him like this, the latter's power is definitely not to be underestimated. But he was just not reconciled. How could a mere woman be so powerful? Okay. Hearing this, Callis smiled slightly and did not continue to dodge anything. Looking at Broly who was already rushing up, Callis waved her scepter with Money's hand. The next second, the scepter and Broly's fist collided. Click. The sound of shattering resounded. Broly's arm was broken, and the whole face couldn't help but scream out from the ferocious mouth at this moment. Ah! In an instant, Broly flew out backwards, smashed to the ground. His right arm was dripping with blood, and it was completely abolished. Callis. Seeing this situation, Buppa frowned and said with a not very good expression, "Broly is my brother." King Buppa needn't worry. 99. Hearing this, Callis understood why Buppa was angry, and immediately walked over to Broly with a light smile. Immediately afterwards, Callis raised her scepter to aim at Broly, and with a group of black and purple brilliance, Broly's arm recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. After doing all this, Callis turned her head to look at Buppa and said, "King Buppa, is this little trick of mine okay?" Chapter 97 Cultivation is free. The underworld chapter begins. The power of time. It's really shocking. Glancing at the restored Broly, Buppa's eyes flashed with shock. Although in the previous anime, Whis was able to recover even after the Earth was destroyed, but this kind of power actually appeared in front of his eyes, but it was still a little shocking. What was that just now? Can the healing power be so powerful? On the other hand, Broly, Son Goku, and Son Gohan looked at Callis in amazement at the moment. For her sudden hand just now, the three of them were completely shocked. Not only that, but at this moment, they even have a little desire to learn in their hearts that means of recovering a broken arm and injury in a short period of time. If it can be mastered, then there is almost no fear of life in future battles. Oh, King Bupa knows. Callis gave Bupa a surprised look. Unexpectedly, the latter actually recognized that what he was using was the power of time, which was simply unexpected. I've heard of it, but this is the first time I've seen it. Casting a glance at Callis, Bupa said indifferently, Broly, now you know how powerful Callis is? 39. What other opinion do you have? There is none left. Shaking his head, Broly is not an idiot. How could he not know how powerful Callis is in front of him? Otherwise, Bupa would not be able to ask the latter to teach the two of them. Thinking of this, Broly didn't continue to say anything, and his eyes were more focused on Callis, looking forward to the latter's so-called teaching. Master Bupa. At this time, Son Goku walked forward with Son Gohan, and asked with a worried look, I wonder if Gohan and I can practice with you? After that, Son Goku and Son Gohan were looking forward to it, but they didn't have much confidence in their hearts. After all, Callis came for Bupa, and although Bupa asked her to guide Broly, she didn't have much to do with Son Goku and Son Gohan in essence. Callis, what do you think? Looking at Son Goku and his son, Bupa did not directly agree or refuse, but turned to look at Callis. After all, it was Callis' business whether to point the other party or not, and Bupa couldn't force anything. In response, Callis said indifferently, if King Bupa agrees, then I don't mind. Teaching 1 is teaching. Teaching 4 is also teaching. Callis didn't care, and at most he was pointing at Broly, Son Goku and Son Gohan, not teaching them Ultra Instinct. After all, her goal in the first place was Bupa, and the person who made the deal with her was also Bupa. It is good. Nodding his head, Bupa turned his head to look at Son Goku and Son Gohan and said, so, the two of you can practice together. Excellent. 35. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan were overjoyed. They could all see Callis' strength, but the latter obviously didn't care about the rest of them except Bupa. Now that Bupa has agreed, it also means that his father and son can follow along to practice together. Thinking of this, Son Goku and Son Gohan looked at Bupa even more in recognition. Ding. The loyalty of the bound character Son Goku reaches 90, triggering 10 times the return ability, and rewarding the host Super Saiyan 3 for transformation. Ding. The loyalty of the bound character Son Gohan reaches 90, triggering 10 times the return ability, and rewarding the host Quan Jiao 2 for transformation. The system prompt sounded quietly. Immediately afterwards, the information of Super Saiyan 3 and the transformation of Quan Jiao 2 entered Bupa's mind. What? At this moment, Bupa was a little surprised. Unexpectedly, Son Goku and Son Gohan have reached the point of loyalty to themselves. Although it is still only 90 points of loyalty, it has not yet reached the full 100%, but it is enough. The two as the protagonists directly let him master Super Saiyan 3 and Quan Super 2 transformation, which saved him a lot of penance. Thinking of this, Bupa glanced at Son Goku and Son Gohan with admiration, and said, so, then let's start practicing together. 5. Callis, we can start. It is good. Hearing this, Callis did not refuse. She also hopes that Bupa will become stronger as soon as possible and master Ultra Instinct as soon as possible to complete the agreement between the two parties. Immediately, Callis tore up a space with a wave of her hand and said, King Bupa, come in with you. This is the space I created, in which 10 days of cultivation will only take 1 day to pass. And there are countless crises in this space, and practicing in it can speed up your cultivation. $55.7 exclamation mark 35 $7 with a promise. Bupa and the others did not hesitate immediately, and stepped into it. After entering the space, Broly, Son Goku and Son Gohan started to exercise under the guidance of Callis. After doing all this, Callis immediately began to come to the area where Bupa was located to instruct him to practice. But instead of helping Bupa improve his combat power, he began to instruct him to practice Ultra Instinct. Time flies, and half a year has passed in the blink of an eye. Bupa, Broly, Son Goku and Son Gohan have all grown extremely quickly under the guidance of Callis, especially Bupa, who has successfully started Ultra Instinct. However, it was still in a state of insufficiency at that time, and even the ultimate sign of freedom was not completed, let alone the complete Ultra Instinct. But even so, Bupa's strength has been greatly improved, and he can even play against Callis for a short time. Master Bupa. On this day, Bupa had just finished his training, and Son Goku and Son Gohan came in a hurry. After arriving at the area where Bupa was, Son Goku immediately opened his mouth and said, Master Bupa, just heard from King Kai that Piccolo has restored the Earth to its original state. 5. But at this moment, The Earth has also encountered the crisis of Hell invasion. Piccolo and others can't hold on anymore. Gohan and I must go back to help as soon as possible. Hell invasion? Is the underworld chapter open? With a flash of light in his eyes, Buppa immediately understood the reason. Involuntarily, Buppa's heart was excited with 3 points. Without him, because in the underworld chapter, there will be a Super 17, whose own ability even surpasses Cell in a sense. If it can be captured and handed over to Lazuli, Lapis or number 21 to devour it, it will definitely increase its combat power by tens of billions. In this way, Buppa can also take this opportunity to increase hundreds of billions of combat power. The most important thing is that in addition to Dr. Jiro, there is also a Dr. Maya who created Super 17 in the underworld. The wisdom of the latter should not be underestimated. If he is captured and robbed of his scientific research results, it can greatly strengthen number 21, Lazuli's sister and brother. Chapter 98 Going to Earth, Vegeta from Hell. Thinking of this, Buppa glanced at Son Goku and said, yes, but Broly and I also went to Earth to see. Hearing this moment, Son Goku looked at Buppa in astonishment. Don't understand why he's going to Earth. After all, things on Earth shouldn't be of much interest to Buppa. No need to worry. Seeing Son Goku's reaction, Buppa waved his hand casually and said, Earth was like that because I planted spiritual fruit trees. Now that people in Hell have invaded the Earth, I can't stand idly by. Just go to Earth to see how the situation is. If Earth's Shenron repair is not complete, then use Namek Shenron to reinforce it. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan nodded in surprise. Buppa is going to create the Justice League, and that's not going to sit idly by. Most importantly, he saw the sincerity in Buppa's eyes. This also means that Buppa will not plant spiritual fruit trees on this trip to Earth. Thinking of this, Son Goku immediately nodded and said, so, let's go together. Also ask Mr. Buppa to prepare the universe spaceship. My instant transmission needs to catch the Kai to activate, but the Piccolo and their Kai on Earth can't get here. It doesn't have to be. Hearing this, Buppa smiled indifferently and waved his hand. Carrie's speed is the first in the universe. You two come with me. Saying that, Buppa took a step and walked towards the area where Callis was. Seeing this, Son Goku and his son looked at each other and immediately followed. Soon, the three of Buppa arrived at Callis. It can be seen that Broly is cultivating at the moment, and he is constantly attacking Callis, but he is still unable to touch it. Broly, stop. Seeing this, the corners of Buppa's mouth rose, and immediately stepped forward and scolded. Hearing this, Broly, who was attacking, paused for a moment, then stopped his movements. After floating to the ground, Broly dispersed and transformed into Quan Jiao Tu, looked at Buppa and said, brother, did something happen? Broly knew very well that if it wasn't for something, then Buppa could not stop his practice. Unable to help, Broly's eyes were full of anticipation. After practicing for such a long time, his strength has also improved a lot, and now he wants to find someone to practice his hands. Nodding, Buppa said indifferently, something happened. After he finished speaking, his eyes turned to Callis, and he opened his mouth. Callis, can you take us to Earth? How long will it take? As soon as these words came out, Son Goku and Son Gohan also looked at Carries expectantly. According to Buppa's story, the latter's speed, universe first, should be a lot faster than when they take the universe spaceship. Earth? Frowning her brows, Carries pondered a little, then raised her head and said, if it's going to Earth, it won't take long. 15 minutes. I can reach Earth in 15 minutes at full speed. 15 minutes. So fast. Son Goku, Son Gohan and Broly couldn't help exclaiming after hearing Carrie's reply. You must know that it took about a month to travel to Earth on the universe spacecraft before, but Carries took them to Earth in just 15 minutes, which was unbelievable. It is good. Only Buppa looked indifferent. He knew how powerful and fast the angels were. In the original book, Whis took Beerus from Gods of Destruction to Earth in just half an hour. Curse was able to take them to Earth in 15 minutes, so it wouldn't be as fast as Whis. This also means that Carries, as a fallen angel, is definitely not inferior to Whis and Vados. In the original book, Vados and Whis are definitely the best among angel. It can be seen that Callis' power is definitely stronger than Buppa expected. Thinking of this, Buppa immediately said, if so, then take us to Earth. There is a crisis on the Earth at this moment, and we just go to solve it. It is good. With a promise, Carries did not refuse. Immediately afterwards, Callis waved the scepter in her hand, and a group of purple-black light beams directly wrapped Buppa and the others. In the next second, a purple-black beam shot up into the sky, and Buppa, Broly, Son Goku and Son Gohan disappeared from the spot under the leadership of Carries. 0 flowers 0. Rumbling, the deafening roar resounded, and the Earth, which had just recovered, was now invaded by the army from Hell. For a time, large-scale devastation occurred in every city area of the whole Earth. Because there were not many people who survived the last crisis, at this moment, they were attacked again by the powerhouses in Hell. For a time, countless screams resounded throughout the city. At the same time, more and more human beings died tragically under the attack of the people of Hell. Xidu, Universal Capsule Company. Vegeta, what are you going to do? 0. For a time, Many voices resounded. It can be seen that Vegeta walked into it with a gloomy face, and many people from the Universal Capsule Company were killed along the way. This scene directly changed Dr. Brive's expression, and looked at Vegeta with horror. Do what? With a cold smile, Vegeta glanced at Dr. Brives, and then said, your daughter dared to betray me and let her lover Bupa kill me. What do you think I should do? What? Hearing this, Dr. Brives was dumbfounded and looked at Vegeta in disbelief, completely unable to believe what the latter said. He also knows about Buma, but all that is known is that Buma was captured by Bupa. Now Vegeta has brought such amazing news, which is completely unacceptable to Dr. Brives. Humphrey. Seeing this, Vegeta snorted coldly, threw Dr. Brives to the ground, and said coldly, old guy, I'm not here for you this time. Bum and that bitch betrayed me, and I'll make her pay for it. My purpose here is to find my son Trunks and tell me where you have hidden the Trunks. 39. Trunks. Hearing this, Dr. Brives suddenly realized why Vegeta broke into the Universal Capsule Company. But soon, Dr. Brives also calmed down, looked up at Vegeta and said, sorry, Trunks can't give it to you. 35. And Trunks is my grandson, and I won't let a dangerous figure like you take him away. 7. Chapter 99. Vegeta finds son, Z Warrior Crisis. Dr. Brives is very clear. Vegeta in front of him is definitely filled with hatred. If he was asked to take Trunks away, then what awaits Trunks is definitely not a kind of filial piety. So, no matter what happens today, Dr. Brives will never leak the traces of Trunks. Don't tell me. Glancing at Dr. Brives, Vegeta's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and then he said, if you don't tell me, I know where he will be. Who else does your family know besides Kakarot and others? 35. Since Trunks is not in the Universal Capsule Company, it is only in Kakarot's house, or in the Heavenly World Piccolo. After that, Vegeta no longer hesitated to put it in the laboratory, and put the universe spaceship that had just been built into the Universal Capsule. After doing all this, Vegeta turned around and walked outside the Universal Capsule Company. No. Seeing this, Dr. Brives' face changed drastically and subconsciously wanted to stop it, but he sat down in pain as soon as he stood up. Although Vegeta didn't kill him, he was already injured at the moment, and there was absolutely no possibility of stopping Vegeta. When Vegeta left, Dr. Brives hurriedly took out a communicator and dialed. At the other end, Vegeta hurried to Bozy Mountain after leaving the Universal Capsule Company. However, when Vegeta arrived, Son Goku's house in Bozy Mountain was already empty. Not here? Seeing this situation, Vegeta's eyes flashed coldly, and he turned around and quickly flew towards the heaven. Judging from the current situation, Son Goku's family is no longer there, so it is only possible in heaven. However, when Vegeta arrived in the heaven, the whole heaven was already riddled with holes, and Cell, Cooler and others were also here. But there is no trace of Piccolo and others in the entire heaven, and they have obviously left. Still not there. Seeing this, Vegeta's face instantly turned ashen. I thought Trunks would be here, but I didn't expect to find 3 places in a row. Vegeta. At this moment, a voice came. Looking at the reputation, Cooler floated and came to the area where Vegeta was, and said, I just got the news that a team under my command has disappeared somewhere in the East China Sea. If there is no accident, where are the warriors on Earth? You were also one of them in the past. You should know where those guys are hiding, right? East China Sea? Raising her brows, Vegeta's eyes flashed with a sigh of relief, and then she said, that should be where Master Roshi is. 5. Come with me, just as I'm going somewhere. After saying that, Vegeta turned around and galloped away in the direction of the Gixian house. Seeing this situation, Cooler, Cell and others quickly followed. They came out of hell this time to get revenge on Son Goku and the others. Now that there is no trace of the other party one after another, he is also quite annoyed in his heart. Now that Vegeta knows where those guys are pointing, why would Cooler and the others hesitate? Immediately, a group of people rushed in the direction of the Gixian house. Number 7. It's over. 95. Inside the Gixian house, Kulin, Shinshinhan, Dumplings, Master Roshi and others gathered, and everyone's faces were extremely ugly. They are also concerned about the outside world, and can clearly feel that those warriors from hell have begun to invade all parts of the earth. And not long ago they killed a squad of aliens from hell. This also means that they should have been exposed here, and even those powerful enemies will soon follow. Piccolo. At this time, Klin, who was beside him, asked subconsciously, when will Goku and the others be able to come back? As soon as these words came out, everyone present looked at Piccolo with anticipation in their eyes. There are so many hell powerhouses, they can't be opponents at all, and the only hope is that Son Goku and others will return. Do not know. Shaking his head, Piccolo said with a serious face, although King Kai has informed Goku before. But it will take at least a month to return to Earth from the new Vegeta star, and we must persist until the old grandson and the others come back. A month. Hearing this, Klin and the others smiled wryly. If it was before, they were sure to stick with it for a month. But their traces have been exposed not long ago. Those powerful hell warriors will come soon. How can this persist for a month? Wow wow. Just then, a cry came from behind. Looking at the sound, Trunks are crying in the cradle. Trunks are hungry. Seeing this, Chi on the side stood up quickly, not caring about the appearance of being pregnant with Liu Jie. He quickly stepped forward and picked up Trunks, and began to feed the other party with milk powder. At this point, Trunks' crying stopped abruptly. At this moment, Piccolo's face suddenly changed. No, they are here. After that, Piccolo quickly walked out of the house. Seeing this situation, Ken and the others looked at each other. Although they understood that they were not strong enough, they were not afraid at the moment. Immediately, a group of people hurried out of the room. Call out! Call out! The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and the figures of Vegeta, Cooler, and Cell appeared here. Vegeta, 99. Why you? Seeing Vegeta's figure, Piccolo and the others were stunned for a moment, their eyes full of puzzlement and doubt. Cooler and Cell both know it. The former was killed by Son Goku and the latter by Bupa. But now Vegeta is actually standing with them, and there is a strong evil atmosphere all over his body, which makes people feel uneasy. Finally found you. Seeing this, Vegeta's eyes flashed coldly, and then he said, Piccolo, what about Trunks? Vegeta, what are you going to do? Seeing this situation, Piccolo faintly felt something was wrong, and he was subconsciously alert. Take him away, of course. Without selling anything, Vegeta glanced at Piccolo and the others and said, Bum, and that bitch betrayed me. 55. Now I have nothing to do with her. But Trunks is my son, and he won't be living with you. Saying that, Vegeta suddenly raised her hand, and a Qui-Gon bullet attacked directly towards the roof of the Gixian house. Rumbling. The explosion resounded, and Chi-Chi, Lan-Chi and other women who were hiding in it ran out of it in panic. Trunks. At this time, Vegeta also saw the Trunks held by Chi-Chi for the first time. A soft light flashed in his eyes, and he came to Chi-Chi's side and said, Give the Trunks over. Kakarot woman, it seems that in the face of Kakarot, this prince will not kill you this time. Chapter 100 Cooler's death, Cell's wrath. Seeing the evil Vegeta in front of him, Chi-Chi panicked for a while and didn't know what to do. After all, she knows how strong Vegeta is in front of her, and no one can stop him except her husband Son Goku. Come over. However, Vegeta didn't stop at this moment, and reached out and grabbed the Trunks. After glancing at Chi-Chi and the others, Vegeta didn't start killing, but turned and left. Hey, Vegeta, what do you mean? Vegeta, have you forgotten that you promised to kill them earlier? Seeing this, Cooler and Cell, who were not far away, frowned. This is not what they said before. Vegeta also didn't kill the Z-fighters with them as planned. That's your business. Glancing at Cooler and Cell, Vegeta said indifferently, my revenge is on Bupa, not these guys. If you want to stop me, you can try together. After saying that, Vegeta rose straight into the sky and left the area in a hurry with Trunks. Damn arsehole. Seeing this, Cooler and Cell's faces turned ugly. Vegeta's sudden betrayal at this time is not good news for them. After looking at each other, Cooler looked at Piccolo and others in the arena and said, Since Vegeta is gone, I have to do it myself. That woman is Kakarot's woman, so it starts with you. While speaking, Cooler raised his hand and a beam of light attacked Chi-Chi. Cooler hated Son Goku. Now that Son Goku is nowhere to be seen, the target of his venting is naturally the person closest to Son Goku. Chi-Chi, be careful. Seeing this situation, Klin and others were shocked. At this moment, Piccolo suddenly appeared in front of Chi-Chi, raised his hand and knocked the beam of Cooler attacked into the air. After all this was done, he said with a cold expression, Cooler, the earth is not a place for you to make trouble. The Namek people. Seeing Piccolo come forward, Cooler frowned slightly, and then said with an icy expression, It's just Namek. Do you think you can stop this king? 35. With that said, Cooler raised his hand and gathered a large amount of energy to launch a deadly attack. Go to hell. However, before Cooler continued to strike, Piccolo was the first to act. It can be seen that his body appeared in the area where Cooler was in a flash, and his punch pierced Cooler's heart directly. PFFT. Blood splattered, Cooler's body shook as if struck by lightning. He looked down at the arm that pierced his heart in disbelief and said, Impossible. 35. Nothing is impossible. In this regard, Piccolo's face was extremely cold, and he said silently, You are too weak now. 35. Saying that, Piccolo pulled out his hand and opened his palm. A mass of Qui-Gon cannons immediately attacked Cooler's body. What? The screams resounded, and Cooler's body exploded instantly and was destroyed at a speed visible to the naked eye. After all this was done, Piccolo breathed a sigh of relief, then turned his head to look aside at Cell. His expression became alert and serious. Unlike Cooler, which only has about 300 million combat power, this can be easily solved for Piccolo. But the Cell in front of him is different. The latter and Bupa's peak duel. Piccolo and others have all seen it. Naturally, it is very clear that it is completely impossible for him and others to be the opponent's opponent. Why, you want to fight with me? Seeing this, Cell looked extremely indifferent, glanced at Piccolo and the others and said, Tell me where the coordinates of the new Vegeta star are. 5. You should be very clear about my ability. If you don't say it, then only death awaits you. New Vegeta star coordinates. Hearing this, Piccolo and the others changed their expressions slightly and said, You want to find Bupa? Hearing this, Cell's eyes became more murderous. For Bupa, His heart is full of endless murder. It was because of the other party that he died back then, otherwise he would have become like this. However, during this time he was in hell, and with the joint promotion of Dr. Jiro and Dr. Mayu, he was confident that he could completely kill Bupa. So, Cell is now eager to know the coordinates of the new Vegeta star where Bupa is located. We do not know. After swallowing, Krillin said cautiously, none of us have been to the location of the new Vegeta star. How do we know where its coordinates are? I don't know. Years. Hearing this, Cell frowned, glanced at Piccolo and the others, and said with a cold expression, since you don't know, it has no value in existence. Saying that, Cell raised his hand and was about to kill Piccolo and the others. It's over. 99. Dead. Seeing this situation, Ken and the others were completely desperate. Even Piccolo has no resistance at the moment. Although his combat power has reached 1 billion, it is completely impossible to compete with the Cell in front of him. Buzz tilde. At the critical moment, a purple black light beam descended from the sky, and was immediately blocked in the front section of the Cell. What? Seeing this, Cell frowned, and subconsciously stepped back a distance and looked at the beam on alert. Not only him, but Piccolo and others are also curiously looking at the beam at this moment. After all, if it hadn't appeared, Cell would have killed them all just now. Soon, the purple black light beam dissipated, and the figures of the 5 Bupa walked out of it. Goku. 9. Goen. 080. Seeing the appearance of the Bupa 5, Kling and the others immediately cheered. Son Goku and Son Gohan are back, so they're really safe. Bupa. 39. Broly. On the other hand, Piccolo looked at Bupa and Broly with a slight frown. Piccolo doesn't know if it's good or bad for the two to reappear on Earth, and Son Goku and Son Gohan are actually with Bupa, Broly, plus the blackening of Vegeta before, which makes him feel that things are not easy. Bupa. Finally, you have shown up. At this moment, Cell's murderous voice resounded quietly. He didn't care about the existence of Son Goku and others. His eyes were fixed on Bupa at the moment. His eyes were full of murderous intent. Cell. Glancing at Cell, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he secretly said, System, check his information. In the next second, the information of the Cell will appear. Cell. Race, Ultimate Android. Combat Strength, 300 billion. Transformation, Lightning Form. Ability, Regeneration, Kamehameha Wave, Magic Light Cannon. 300 billion Combat Power. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this and join my Patreon if you want to support me. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.